Hello, everybody. Welcome to the local pundit.
If it comes in,
And-
what a goal!
Oh no! Oh no! Celebrate! Are you kidding?
The Reds are still top of the league.
And on it, game us.
Hey everybody, welcome to the local pundit. This is our transfer preview show. We're going to go through some players that we think might do well for us. We're going to talk about what positions we think we'd like to see strengthened. And then, I've got a handful of players that I think can help us out. And we'll see what you guys think. And if you have any suggestions, throw them in the chat. Let's try to keep it interactive today. Lots of back and forth. We'll have some fun today. And I've got somebody with me. It's not just me. I do have the man of the hour, the man with the power. He's too sweet to be sour. He is Patty Power. What's up, buddy?
Hello, everybody. I'm good.
Yeah. Awesome. So I've got a bunch of players we can get into.
Yep.
Patty knows who I've got, but I thought it'd be good to just have a conversation about where we're at, how many changes we think, how many signings we think are possible, how many we think may come in, how much money we think we'll spend, and what positions. I think before we start diving in, because I've got players for every single position. So, and obviously I don't think we're going to sign players for every position, but it's just, I wanted to give options for everything because some people are going to have, some people in the chat may disagree. I may think our most important thing will be a left wing back, but after the performance from Thomason the other day, others may say, yeah, you know what, maybe we don't need one of those.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, so I think it's good to have the conversation about it. So, I guess we can start there. I think for me, I still think our biggest needs are wing backs, at least a wing back. It probably doesn't matter which side. I think left seems like the more where we probably need the depth more, but with Longman that can play both sides, it kind of frees up. If you got one, even if you brought in a right wing back, I think that frees him up a little bit. Where he can play more specifically on the left as the backup.
Yeah.
Kakache, assuming Kakache gets healthy too. That's the other thing. We're assuming that Kakache and Kabore will be back here soon and healthy and hopefully last the whole season. So, so what's your thoughts on it? What do you think our most important position is to be signing for this win?
For this window? Well, I suppose the one question to start with is, what are the club honestly going for?
Mm-hmm.
Are they actively targeting the playoffs this season from the position we're in? Because that means you do some crazy stuff in January. if you're actively going to charge for playoffs, you're going to do some big signings in this window. Now, if they are okay with getting close to the playoffs and building for next season, then it's kind of a different question then, because there are players I would happily take and look at now in January. I had a quick look through some of the players in your list, and what I was thinking in my head to do is to pick which one of them I would actually want. But sometimes I want someone who may be great for next season, and sometimes there is a different option that says this is someone who could come in and make a difference now.
Yeah.
But not for the long term.
Yeah, that's a good point. What are our realistic goals for the season? I think they haven't come out and said, you know what I mean? I think it's been very open. I think if you listen to the one interview that Sean gave, it was very much just see how high we can get. It wasn't, I don't think they said, I don't think they've set a goal of, okay, we want playoffs or we want this position. It just seems like, let's do well, but within reason, probably. I'm sure, I don't think they want to be anywhere near a relegation fight. With the money we spent, we shouldn't be. So that's fair. And I do think that it does as the season goes on, you do have moving targets probably. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The more is, let's say if we were sitting in 6th right now, then probably the goal for the season changes to, okay, yeah, maybe we do want playoffs. But in 13th, I mean, to me, I guess this is my personal opinion. It'd be interesting to see what the chat says. Um, I'm happy. Uh, I'm happy to be like pushing for playoffs. You know, just be in and around that area. I mean, we're 5 points off right now. I'm not going to be completely upset if we don't quite make the playoffs. But yeah, it, yeah, yeah. That's kind of where I'm at. I'd be happy to be pushing. Be awesome if we made it in, but I'm happy to be close.
Yeah. I think I've changed my mind on what the club is doing
Hmm.
and maybe what the club should do. Because my initial thoughts were with championship, build over multiple seasons, have some of the best players in the league, and we're going to go up. But I've kind of changed my mind a little. I saw that. I've changed my mind a little bit on that because if you honestly look at what happens when you get promoted, very, very few players play an active part in the Premier League when you go up. And only a few of them kind of end up on the bench, seriously. So from that point of view, I kind of think what you do is you buy players that can actively get you to your playoffs now and just keep pushing till you get there, because you're going to have to change a lot of those players anyway. So when it's not like we're happy now we're in the championship and it might take us 10 years to build up through the league to actively get there. We're going to get there within 2 seasons and be actively targeting maybe even the top two within a couple of seasons if the teams that come down have a horrible season. But if not, we should be constantly targeting the playoffs from next season.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I kind of get the idea of, well, go for your 27-year-old, go for your 29-year-old. Go for someone with experience, knowledge, who can get in there, get the job done, make little mistakes. So yeah, my mind is playing tricks with me on who I want and what I think they should do, because I've also said that we should be investing in some young players and taking some chances and giving them some time, because we're probably going to be here for at least two seasons, probably 3 more. Who knows?
Yeah, I agree. I think in that interview I was mentioned, Sean said they felt like it was a 3-window job. This being the second of the 3 windows. So I do think you'll see a continued effort to improve the squad. I don't think they'll go. I'm thinking probably 2 or 3 signings is probably realistic,
Yeah.
because January is so notoriously hard to get players and not just spend stupid money. You know what I mean? It's one of the
Yeah.
and people will say we spent stupid money on Broadhead. I think I think he's worth every penny if we can let him play how he wants to play. And I think he showed that the other night, how good he can be. Uh, so I think he'll be worth the money. But I do think it wouldn't surprise me if we spend big like that again. If we spend another, you know, 8 to 10 million on a player, if it's the right player.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends on who's available, in what position. Is it a position that we kind of think, okay, we're okay now? See, here, I can't remember who it was. Somebody earlier in the chat had said they felt like a midfielder and then wing backs. To me? I think a midfielder is a little. I don't think we
Excessive.
need it. We've got it. We have a lot now. There are no. Don't get me wrong. I've got some midfielders on my list, and there's one for sure that I would absolutely love to sign. But I just don't know. Excuse me. I just don't know that with the depth. It seems like that is as far as depth goes, that's probably our best position is in our central midfield. So we've just got a bunch of them. So you definitely have to move players out if you're going to bring one in. And there's players that haven't played for us at all. I mean, Elliott Lee been injured, hasn't played at all this season. I think he played it, 1 or 2 games in the Cup, but I mean that was it. He hasn't played at all in the championship. So it's like, I mean, there's players that we, but then I know somebody put it in the chat earlier. Andy Cannon is possibly coming back, and what kind of role does he play? To me, I think you probably want to improve on him because let's be honest, while he was getting game time for us last season, it wasn't like he was a mainstay even before he got injured. So it is a player that's not necessarily a mainstay in League One. Are we thinking he's going to really contribute in League or in the championship? Maybe not. So I think you could improve. So I think there's players out there. If we could get them for the right deal, I think it's worth getting. But it's also kind of like it's one of those positions where if we didn't bring in a midfielder in this window, I don't think that's the end of the world. There'll be a lot of midfielders available in the summer, and then you can try to really progress the squad there. And it's hard to move people on in January. It's hard to do a lot. That's why I think it'll only be a couple. You know what I mean? I think 2 or 3 signings probably tops for me is where we're at.
And as part of the reason, if possible, I'd like them to be big signings. I think we're basically at the point now that I think we should be going for big signings, because if we only need, let's say, 2 in this January, and we may be only looking for 4 or 5 in the summer, then maybe 1 or 2 extras to bulk the squad, or young players, etc. Like that's how you get to a top end championship team. Is when you take those players there, they make a big difference. Because I'm very comfortable with the players we have now becoming extremely solid bench players if we upgrade them again, because they're good championship players now, but if we upgrade them again and they become solid backup, absolutely.
I think
we're a big team.
I think speaking of the midfield, I think you talk about oh gosh, I'm having a brain fart. I've been looking at so many names today. I've got 1,000 names in my head right now. Defensive midfielder, Dadbod.
J-Rod.
I'm talking about not J-Rod. Who's the other one? I was calling him Dadbod this weekend. James. He's a player that I think he's very good at this. He's good. He's a good player at this level. I don't think he can do it 3 games a week. But if you had him as a backup option, if he's a backup, I think that's an excellent backup. You know what I mean? So to your point, if you brought in a player that, especially if we're going to start playing this midfield too, and so you had Sheaf and another, and you could play, and then you're bringing him off the bench, I think that's top notch to me. I think it's
I would take it even a step further. I was maybe thinking more when Sheaf ends up on the bench. Because we've a bit of work to do to rotate through the squad before that happens. He's just after coming in. But imagine the level we'll be at when Sheaf actually becomes a big part player. Because it's kind of, even having him play a full match at the moment, it seems a little dodgy with him as well. Now he's fantastic in his spot, but we seem to be very cautious with him in how many minutes he plays and stuff, although that's calmed down lately. But like when he's your backup. And when we upgrade Moore, like when Moore ends up sitting the bench for us, and maybe Windass, like when they're the second in command, we would be a really big team at that time. The other thing to consider as well is our new style versus our old style, if it even is a new thing that he's going to continue to do. That does change the balance of the team. Because we discussed this, if you're going to play the 3 players up the front, then we are light in attack. But if we are going to keep that balance, we're overloaded in midfield. So, who are you looking for? Do you need additional players for attack, or do you need additional players to swap around the midfield? that's an interesting one for Parky to figure out.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's just about building a squad and who can, how, who can we bring in that helps us in the positions that we need, that we think are important. To me, I think I'm still convinced that a wingback is the most important to me.
Okay. I agree. Absolutely. They're hugely important to the team. But for me, when we upgrade these wingbacks, I want them to be this next big step above what we have. And maybe that's asking a lot. Maybe it's asking too much. Who knows? But that's why I think we're not preferably ready in this January to do a massive upgrade on a wingback. Now, we probably won't do a big upgrade. It might be someone just to cover. We'll have a look through the list you have, and we'll see what type of players there are in there. But I would almost maybe prefer a stopgap if we want a backup just in case. And I want Kabore and Kakache to be the number ones for now. But from the summer, then I want to be looking for a top upgrade on those wingbacks. That's what would really make us big. But maybe I'm wrong in that, because do we need top wingbacks? Can we even get them? They're probably Premiership level. I'm almost talking Premier League level then at that point, because who are the very best wingbacks in the Championship? Because that's what I'm talking about when you need to upgrade Kabore, kind of,
Mm-hmm.
Are they even available?
Yeah, or players out of the Prem who can come down. Or I think honestly, I think a loan move makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
for
do.
a wingback. There's some available, and we'll talk about some when we get into players. Okay, so we've kind of had our. So did you say what you thought your most important position was?
No,
or
I didn't.
one or two, or do you have one that you think we need this? Do you have that?
Not if Thomason is able to step up at a similar level to what we saw, because I think the player he was up against was getting absolutely ripped apart by Thomason when he was in attack mode. I can't remember his name. Was it Sirik or something? But he may not have that every week either. So I'm really looking forward to the next two matches. Let's say if we can see similar with different styles of players, with different styles of teams, how does he flatten out as an average over those couple of matches? Because if he's good enough, I'm not that worried about wingbacks then. Assuming Kabore and Kakache are coming back and there isn't underlying issues that the team is worried about, because that changes every metric. I'm still going on the assumption that when they come back in January, both of them, that they can potentially last the second half of the season without major absences.
I've seen this in the chat. Let's do this 63. Yes, he did pick. That was in November though. So that was he hasn't played since that injury. He is just back with the team down in at AFCON with Burkina Faso. He hasn't played a game yet. He's just started training with them. Parkinson had said he's in contact with him every day, so they know where he's at. But he won't be playing any of their group stage games. He's already been ruled out for their group stage games. There's a possibility he'll be made available if they progress through the group stage, get into the knockout rounds. Then maybe he would play, but he hasn't. It's not a new injury. He's not. So he's actually really close to being back. Me and Patty were looking at it. I think a realistic thought was I can't remember who it was, but I think it's a January 17th. We have a game, and I think there's a decent chance that he's back for us by then. So that's kind of a date I'm circling that I'm looking at. But yeah, that's where we're at on him. So there you go. I know that there was some confusion in the chat because they weren't sure if there's a new injury. No, there's no new injury. It's the same one. He's just not quite back yet. So
Quick question here, just because we're talking about him.
Yeah.
Can we buy Kabore in January, or do we have to wait for the summer? We can buy him in January, assuming Man City are happy with a price that we're happy with.
Yeah. There was a story that came out. He will be made available for sale in the summer for sure. Man City are looking to sell a handful of players just to kind of help with their FFP requirements. So he will be made available. But yeah, if we wanted to get him in January, I don't see any reason they wouldn't let us. I'll be honest though, with the injury, I think it probably would be a good decision to wait.
Yeah.
Let's make sure he can get back and be good and be healthy. And let him finish out the second half of the season and see how he goes. I don't know what his injury record has been before.
It was pretty okay. I don't recall.
I don't think he had I don't think he had any major injuries. So hopefully this is a one-off. No big deal. But the same thing with Kikacha. I think he said this is his first major injury he's ever had. He's only been able to play 5 games for us. So what's the chances we get 2 players that just don't usually get injured or both out for months, at the same time? So
it's an interesting question, and people will have different ideas as to should we go for Kabore now in January, because obviously there's kind of 2 schools of thought on that. One is he's just been injured, his price should be cheaper, and we could probably get a better deal out of Man City right now. It's kind of, well, he's injured at the moment. Do you want to just get the deal done, and we'll take the hit if it doesn't work when he comes back from injury, but we want a reasonable bargain? Or do they want to wait until the summer and hope that he comes back, plays a fantastic second season for us, and shoves his price back up again? In which case we may end up paying more, but also another club may end up paying more too. But it also protects us to not buy him now and say, well, we want to be sure he is fit and healthy and back. So yeah, are you willing to spend an extra couple of million in the summer versus the risk of him never being good enough? That's up to the club, and they have the proper insight as to how good they really thought he was, to be honest. How much did they really rate him? And that's kind of a parky thing.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, so yeah, I mean, it's an interesting conversation on him. To me, I think you let him finish out the remainder of his loan and then see where he's at.
Yeah, but there will be.
You never know. There could be here's the thing. There could be a better player out there that
there could, yeah,
that they have on the radar, and they think, hey, we can get him in the summer. We don't know that. We don't know that.
No, and we don't know, is Kabore going to go down with another injury during this period as well?
Exactly. So
where we can simply walk away.
Yeah, I'd say, it'd be disappointing because he's a very good player. He's been very good for us. So, but we'll see how it goes. Let's see if there's anything in the chat we want to touch on. Let's see. There's some interesting, Kate. Don't buy Kabore. He's a good, but there's more out there. Okay, that's fair. O'Brien, Doyle, Thomason brought him along when all like to drive towards goal. This is our best offensive alignment. Yeah. See, is there anything else? Yeah.
There was one there about don't buy him and pay the transfer fee. Wait till the summer. There will still be a transfer fee.
Yeah,
he's under contract.
Yeah. He's got one more. He's
not out of contract in the summer. He's just been sold in the summer.
Yeah. Not sure. Trying to get a bargain is top of anyone's priority list. If there's a better player available long term, that may be the way they go. Personally, he says decent, but not a cheat code. It's probably fair. But here's the thing, though: if you can get him on a permanent and then bring in a better player, and then he's coming off the bench for you, I mean, that'd be wild. But that's the kind of options you need as backup. So,
or even
would he be willing to do that? That might be a different question too, though.
Well, the other side there is we need two on that wing anyway. We don't think Longman or Barney are good enough long term. So even if we bought him and then brought in an older player, who's 28, 29 even, that has experience and knowledge, and the two of them fight it out for who's the best, senior head, and that works best for both as well. Have them fight it out, similar levels.
Yep, for sure. All right. Well, we're 25 minutes in here. We've had a decent little discussion.
And you've got
I went longer than I thought I'd go. But I've got a ton of players to get into, so let's do that. So here we go. I made some really nice little graphics. I hope you guys appreciate them because I spent way too much time on them.
And this time I just showed up. It was great. You did all the work.
I did all the work. It's amazing what you can do when your family's out of town and you've got the house to yourself. All right, so let's go. We'll start with strikers. And first up is Damian Downs. So obviously he's a USA international. He's got 5 caps. Word is he is looking for a move because he'd like to get some more game time so he can get into that World Cup squad for the US. So he's a similar type player to Kiefer. Probably more pace though, for sure. Definitely got more pace. Right now he's just not featuring for Southampton. He's struggled to get in their squad. But to be fair, they have some very high-end strikers at that club. So I think he was always going to struggle to get in. But if you look at some of his stats in other places, he's got some, where he's played before, he's got some decent stuff. So I'm going to pull that down real quick, and I'm going to pull this up. We're going to do some comparisons. So I've got this so we can compare the two.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Kiefer and Damian Downs. Because I do think if we bring in a player, it's probably not a replacement for Kiefer, but maybe his future replacement. Damian Downs being 21 years old, he's got a lot ahead of him. He's 6'4", so he's a similar size to Kiefer. Here's the heat map. Now, what I did do, this is from Bundesliga 2, because this was this gave you a better look at what he can do over a season. And there's the heat map, not as filled in as Kiefer's, but basically all the similar areas. You know what I mean? It's very similar.
Yeah.
Now he didn't play as many minutes per game for Köln. But he did, he played 29 matches though, but didn't play as many minutes as what Kiefer has in 22 matches so far. One thing you'll see on Kiefer, I assume you guys can see my mouse.
Yeah.
Right in here, that is so filled in because that is where generally Kiefer he receives that long ball. Kiefer catches that long ball right there, especially when we're playing the 2 and not the 3, because usually you got Windass or Brody playing over here. And so Kiefer receives that. That's why that's so filled in. He gets a lot of touches right in that area. So if you look at some of this, in that season, he scored 10 goals. Scored 10 goals. Of course, Kiefer's on 10 goals right now. Big chances missed 16. So that's something that you do worry about. But if he's missed 16 big chances, he's creating big chances here. He's getting into big chances. I think it's kind of the talk we had about names again. What's his name? O'Brien. He gets into those situations where a lot of other players just don't even get into that situation. So he's a dangerous player. He's got good pace. He does like to sit in the box, as you can see right here in this heat map, big red area right in front of goal. He likes to get in that area. And so just scrolling down through, you can see some of the other stats. Assists, he had 3 over the season. Obviously he's not doing a ton of passing. He's Defending, he does do a little bit, not much though. But Kiefer does some, not as much. Kiefer obviously got back and more in the box, gets more in the box and heads balls clear. But yeah, nothing crazy. Obviously, this other stuff, dribbles. You're not going to see a lot of dribbling out of either one of them. Stuff like that. Aerial duels, that is something that obviously Kiefer excels at. He didn't as much, so that's something to talk about. Possession lost, 5.7 to 16.2 for Kiefer. So he's not losing the ball a ton. So yeah, interesting. It's an interesting one. I like his pace. I like the fact that he's 21 and he could get better. Imagine what he could learn from a player like Kiefer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have him in that same room. Those guys are working together, and just think of the things he can learn off a player like Kiefer. So any thoughts on that?
If he's looking for more minutes, do you expect he would get him from us though?
I think he could. I think he'd get in more because right now he's just not even touching the pitch. And I think he does actually have a minor injury at the moment too. I'd have to double check on that, but I think right now he does have a bit of a injury. But yeah, I mean, obviously he's probably looking for somewhere to start. But he could get, if you had that player. Let's think of it this way: if we had that player, does Kiefer start Monday? Maybe not. You know what I mean? If you got a similar player to him, he just played a couple days ago. Do you continue to start Kiefer every match like we have been? If you've got somebody that's pretty daggone good behind him and can go.
Yeah, and again, if we go to this tree up front, I could see someone like this rotating in with any of them really, because they're given so much flexibility and freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine him and Kiefer Moore playing together.
Yeah, I'd be wild talking about. That'd be a headache
when one of the others are getting a break in this 3-4 match run together.
Yeah.
Windess gets a break and he comes on at 60 minutes, and Demian starts with Kiefer and Broadhead. Yeah, and then Broadhead takes the next one off or whatever, and then Kiefer gets a break like that. That would be interesting.
Wayne Evans says, so we're looking for more. I am. Yes. I want more.
and if you look at what the club tried to do with Fall, it didn't work in that case. Yeah. But they were looking for someone who could be trained up to take the Kiefer Moore role. So yeah, if this is a hybrid who can run and play other dimensions as well with speed and youth, but he has the height and he can learn from Kiefer Moore how to use his physicality and get his head on a ball. Yeah, could be fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so I'm happy with that one. Market value, obviously, guys. This is some of these are complete guesses. You'll look at one site and it'll say 2 million for a player. You go to another site, it'll say 10. I kind of just went with I went with what's the transfer marked for most of these because I think generally they do a pretty good job. Also, I've got a lot of players from Germany and from around that general area. I think they actually do a really good job in those players, for those players. So I just stuck with them.
I don't know that I'd be paying 10 for him at the moment.
No, right now they want 6.1. They have him 6.1 million. It's probably not far off of where he's at. You might even be able to get him cheaper depending on how bad Southampton want to get him off the books. You know what I mean? I don't know what his wage is, but I imagine it's probably pretty good. I think it's possible. You know what I mean? I think it's a deal that we could get done. Maybe he's not my favorite. I'll be honest. He's not my favorite of the picks that I have. I think the favorite might be up next.
I think in the region of 5-6, that sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
If we could get him in around that region.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, he's going to have a decent wage, so that would be the other thing. And they have him under contract, I think, for 4 years. They just signed him in the summer, but he's already looking for a move. And it might be a loan move. That's the other thing, too. Maybe it'll be a loan move to start off with. Who knows? But he's definitely looking for some minutes somewhere, so we'll see where he ends up. I definitely see him going in January though. So let's move on to our next one. I don't see anything in the chat. Anybody got anything big on him they want to talk about? I don't really see anything. Just nothing too crazy. Let's see. Southampton. Let's see. Let's throw this up there. Southampton bought him in the summer. Would get a loan at best for him. I think they're looking to move him. I think you could get him on loan. I think they're looking to move him on because he's just not getting in their squad.
What did they pay for him?
I didn't look. I'll be honest. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what they paid for him, but they'll definitely be looking to recoup some money. But I think just recoup some money, get him off the books. I think it's kind of like a deal with that we've got with Hardy. We brought him in, thought it'd work out. It hasn't for us or him.
Okay.
We're probably looking to move him on.
FotMob is saying they paid 8.1 million euros. Okay, so about 6.5 million.
So about what transfer market.
About what that market there.
Yeah, about right around in that. Yeah.
So yeah, it depends if they're willing just to get their cash back and move on if he just hasn't worked.
Yeah, money.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's a long contract, so they're gonna, it'll be. They may be happy to get rid of it. You know what I mean? They may make a deal just to get that contract out of there. So we'll see. And like I said, and you could be right. It could just be a loan move. He may go on loan somewhere. That's probably a very good possibility. We'll see where he ends up, though. But let's move on. This one's probably my favorite. Tobias Lortson. This one that we've been linked with, that name's kind of popped up in all the little Wrexham rumor things. I know we were talking to John. We were having a conversation with John last night, like after the stream we did yesterday, and he was talking about he thought they had been linked with him at one point too. So interesting that they'd been linked to him also. But he's a Sparta Rotterdam. He's playing really well. He's 28 years old, so a little older age profile, but younger than Kiefer. You know what I mean? He's a player that if you brought him in again, I think he's probably in very he's a very similar player to Kiefer. I don't think he's quite physically as strong.
Yeah.
That would be a little bit of the difference. Let me pull up. Right, I guess we can go through this. Right now, he's on 8 goals, 1 assist. He's 6'4". He's played 17 games, started all 17 of them. They've got him at around $3 million as a market value. I mean, not a decent shout there. So let me drop this and I'll bring this back up and let me get Lortson in there. Okay. Should have him in my list already. Oh, maybe not. Okay. How do you spell his last name? I'm on the wrong damn.
LAU or IT.
Lortson. There it is. Okay. Here's his map. Filled in really nice. In all the areas you'd expect to see a big tall striker. Red back in our own box. You know what I mean? Probably on set pieces mostly, heading the ball out. Really nicely filled in through the middle of the pitch. He's not going to get out here as much. He's doing more stuff centrally. And I think if we play a system that we played the other night, I think he'd slot right into it.
Yeah.
I really like him. Minutes per game. He's averaging 90 minutes per game. So he's playing. He's getting in. He's playing right now. So that might be the kicker is, are you going to get him away from a team where he's playing 90 minutes every week? Now, the money-wise, I think we could probably pay him a lot more than what they are. So that would be, where you might be able to get him to come in. But right now, in 17 games, he's got 8 goals. His XG is 7.64, so he's about performing where he should be on his XG. Shots off target 1.2 to Kiefer's 1. Very similar. I mean, the numbers are very similar. Difference is big chances missed, only 2, where Kiefer's missed 10. big chances. So he seems to be a little more, how would you call it? Lethal. You know what I mean? I was watching some videos on him today, and he does look like a terrific finisher. He's made some terrific finishes, and really good header of the ball also. For goals, he'll get up there, and you'd expect him to. He's 6'4", but he gets up high and he finishes really well with his head. So from the stuff I was looking at today, big chances created 6,
That's
and
decent, yeah.
yeah, and Kiefer's only got 2. So if you look at some of his assists, his XA, which is expected assists, 2.01, where Kiefer's at 1 basically. He's a damn good player. And I think it's a player that could push Kiefer for that position. You know what I mean? And right now we don't have that. We don't have a player pushing Kiefer. And some players respond really well to having competition. Some of them don't, and I don't know how Kiefer is when it comes to competition. But a lot of players will perform better when they've got competition in their spot because they know they have to. You have to play better if you want to keep your spot. So to me, this is my favorite. I think he's fantastic. If you look at his, of course, this is SofaScore's rating system. I don't know how it differs from others, but a 7.4 to 7.15 for Kiefer. I think he'd be a great player. It's a player at 28 years old. You could bring him in, and assuming we were playing at this level, I don't know if he's able to play at the Prim level, but assuming we're at this similar level we're at now, I think he's a guy that could play for us for 3 to 4 years. Where Kiefer is 33. What's he got? 1, maybe 2 more good seasons in him. Before his legs start to go. We don't know. And that's another thing. Lordsson he's not pacey by any means. He's not like some of the others, but I would say he looks quicker than Kiefer to me, which isn't great. Kiefer's not a barn burner by any means. He's not a speedster, but Kiefer can turn on the jets a little bit if he needs to, in spurts. But from what I saw from Lawrenson, he moves really well. So he just seemed to me, honestly, it's the stuff. He just looks like a 28-year-old Kiefer Moore. You know what I mean? It really is very similar player. I like him a lot.
I really want someone to be able to play the hybrid model, where he can plug and play for the other two as well at different times. Because we saw the 3 of them completely interact, move around each other, end up in all sides of the pitch working together. So I would really like someone who could also be on the pitch with Kiefer here and maybe ultimately take his spot. This is the type of player I like, and the age profile and experience. Now, okay, it's in European experience, in one of the better leagues. So yes, he should be able to come in and do a job. For us, I like this. As someone who can make a difference now, but doesn't also overshadow the other players either. And if you're moving to a new team and you're coming in a little bit older, like he knows he's not going to play every minute that's available. So not with us starting.
Yeah. Just to answer this question from Esteban, this one, I think there were some links to him. There has been some rumors around him. The other one, most of the other ones are no. It is just speculation. Here's the thing, guys. Most of these guys, these are all for fun. This is just me being bored and having fun and looking at players that I think would be good for us. And it's just fun. It's speculation. Obviously, we don't know what they're thinking behind the scenes. They may not even be thinking to bring in a striker. I've got players in every position, so because I have no idea who they're going to bring in. It's just players that I think would fit us well, and it's fun to speculate. And sometimes we hit. I think I ended up getting 3. I think I hit 3 last year, so it was good. I had a good season, or in the summer I hit 3, so it was good.
And also, a lot of these players, their contracts are coming up for renewal as well, which does kind of assist with they're likely going somewhere.
Yeah.
So they are an honest target if we want to go for them.
Yeah.
But I will say though, there is a lot less rumor this window than I expected.
Yeah, we were just having that
There's
conversation last
there's
night.
a lot less out there than usual for us.
Yeah, very quiet. I did see one. I just posted it in the Discord. If you're not in
Yeah.
there, get in there. I posted one in the Discord. It came from a very off brand. Like it was a very small group.
Dubious.
Yeah, it's not a great link, but
Dubious
they're
speculation.
saying that we are very likely signing Bamford, which is interesting. Not It's a different type of strike. He's a different type of striker to Kiefer for sure. Very good striker,
I
and I
don't think
think
we're
we
signing
play.
Bamford.
I think if we played the style that we played against them the other night, I think Bamford probably would fit fairly well. If we're playing more of the target man, hoofing it up there to a big guy, that's not really Bamford's game. So that'd be an interesting one. Again, that's total. It could be a complete BS thing. It's a very dubious link. I'm not putting a lot of stock into it, but I just saw I saw some of you guys talking about Bamford in the chat, so thought I'd throw that out there. You never know. Yeah. So these are all just players that I think are good fits for us in position. In all our positions that we use. So. Yeah, all about some fun. This is all about fun. But anyway, is there anything else we want to say on him, Patty?
No, I don't think so. But there's a question here I'm going to add.
All right, go ahead.
From Mike Shane. What are the general success rates for players from non-EFL players? Is it worth the risk to go outside our league? I know there are a lot of foreign success stories, but I wonder if you evaluate them. I guess he probably means how you evaluate them, because of course they are being evaluated by the team. So, but yeah, how exactly to do it? The simple fact is, if you look at it, the Premier League has started rating non-EFL players higher. They want the value from them. They're bringing in players, and maybe they're also sending them down to the championship for a season or two at times in order to build up their value and then sell them on at a better rate later. But lots of teams are going to Europe for value. They're getting better players at a cheaper price, and there are some risks with it. Some players will just fall apart with the physicality. John has said it with Birmingham. Was it Kyogo or no? Who?
No, not Kyogo. It was Fujimoto. Yeah,
Fujimoto hasn't even played for them, and apparently he just is not strong enough. He cannot take the physicality of the league, apparently. So yeah, it doesn't always work. There are extra risks involved. That's for sure. But the bigger clubs do have full evaluations on all European players at this stage. They're tracking all the leagues, and they're global with their situations as well. So they have companies doing it on their behalf. And basically the middleman company will give them a list of players they should be looking at, because they will have the stats on everybody from every league in the world. And they will shortlist and say, according to the numbers, these are the players you should look at. And then they'll go and do full scouting and stuff like that.
Yeah. Right on. Okay. Yeah. So let's move on. Now this one I was really disappointed in. And Patty had a little chuckle, I think. I did a lot of work on him. I really liked him. I watched him play. And then today, literally today, a couple hours ago, it comes out he's agreed a deal to move to Eintracht Frankfurt. And so he won't be one we'll be able to get. He's making a move in January. But he's one of the best strikers in the Bundesliga 2 or 2 Bundesliga, however, I don't know how they want to say it, but yeah, basically the second division in Germany. Yeah, he's a very good player. He actually is more. I would compare him more to a Patrick Bamford. Actually, he doesn't. He less fits the role of a Kiefer Moore. But I wanted to throw him in there because I did want to throw a little different player out there that I thought that there had been rumors that was going to be moving on in January. But it looks like he's going to stay in Germany. He's moving up to the Bundesliga. So There you go. That was
Yeah.
one I was excited about. Did a lot of work on. I actually watched a couple of his games.
Now,
I've seen him play.
following up from the last question, actually, this kind of works quite well. This is a player who's coming from the Bundesliga 2, so
Mm-hmm.
a league below. And who's he going? Who did he go to?
Going to Eintracht Frankfurt, which I believe are in the Bundesliga.
In the Bundesliga. Okay, so that's not so bad then. It's the same league setup, but just up a division.
Yeah.
But if, like, let's say if we were taking him, now you've also got the European League, but you've got one league below. So it's kind of like buying from League One on the chance that he's going to fulfill potential. Which was interesting, because the next player I believe you're going to pull up is actually in the Bundesliga.
Yeah.
And a similar age range, if I'm correct.
Exactly. Yes.
Because I was comparing the two. Go on.
Yeah. All right. So let me move on to the next one. Ilias Ansa. Lots of interest in him. He's playing really well as a 21-year-old in the Bundesliga for Union Berlin, and they are, they're a pretty good team. But rumors are he could be going, and around 10 million is the what the word on the street is. So this would be a big one. It would be an expensive one. But at 21 years old, you get a lot out of a player like that. He's 6'4", tons of pace, big physical guy. I've watched him play a few times. I think he's very good. They don't play quite. They're different than us. Well, see, I keep saying, here's the thing. I don't know how we're going to play, because if we played like we did the other night, he actually fits very nicely. But also, if we go back to revert to playing the, long balls up to the big man, I don't, even though he's 6'4", he's not, they don't play that style. Let's put it that way. So it's hard for me to judge how he would do in that style. But it's hard to be honest. It's hard to find big strikers, and that was my main goal with the strikers, was just finding 6'4", 6'5", big strikers that are similar, size to Kiefer, that could do similar stuff. And to go to AFCON, that's a good question, and I don't think he's playing in AFCON. Let me see. I think he's German. I don't think he's got. I think he's in the German youth setup right now. Yeah. 6 U21 caps in Germany. So no, I as of right now, no. Now I think the rules are weird. You can switch I don't know what his background is, if he's got in the rules as far as being able to be listed under a different country. I think you got to have family from certain, I don't know if it's grandparents, or I don't know. I'm be honest, I just don't know the rules that well. But as of right now, he's a German, so we wouldn't have to worry about going to AFCON. But yeah, he's a terrific player. If he scored 5 goals, he got an assist. He started 13 games. He's one, and I've actually, since I started looking at him, I've actually heard some murmuring that there's some bigger Bundesliga teams that are looking at him. So he may actually end up at a, maybe a Borussia Dortmund or a team like that. He may move up higher in. So he may be a little out of our, out of the, a little too high level of a player than what we could get. But boy, if you could get him, he'd be terrific. I will go ahead and pull up the Sofa score here, and we can do a comparison with Kiefer. Let's see. So there we go. Okay. So obviously the big one, 21. They've got him at 6'6". I don't know if he's quite that tall. I think on my thing I had him at 6'4", but yeah, somewhere in that, he's in that range. He's a big guy. Let's put it that way. He's a big guy. 21 years old. So the age is great. That's a player that can really develop. heat map is a little spotty. It's not quite zeroed in. But if you look at the areas, it's similar to Kiefer's. Not as much in the box though. So I do worry about that a little bit. He's got some in the box, but not as much as you'd like to see. But you do see him filling in similar areas as Kiefer does. Kiefer's a little spotty down here, so is he. So obviously, if he was playing more minutes, some of that would fill in a little better. So it's similar places, but just not. I would like to see a little more red in the box.
It's interesting that he seems to end up down in the corner a lot.
Yeah, down in here. In the corner
something to do with his style there.
Yeah.
Maybe he cuts the ball back in towards others.
Honestly, I wonder that could be a just from set pieces. Maybe he's setting up on the back post, and you get some in swing, kind of like what we do, and you kick that ball to the back, and maybe he heads it back in because he's a big guy. That's a good question though, and because he's got a little spot in here too. That'd be something to look at, actually. But yeah, it's similar areas. If you look at the pitch, similar areas of the pitch to Kiefer, just not quite as filled in. So if we look, he's played 15 matches. What I'd say he started 13 of those. I can't remember. I have to look at my other thing. But 5 goals, and his XG is 2.14. So he's outperforming his XG, which means that's good. That means you're a good finisher. Generally, that means you're a good finisher. He's scoring chances that a lot of guys wouldn't. He's scoring hard chances. So because the harder the chances, the smaller the XG is on that shot. So he's outperforming his XG, which is what you like to see. Goals per game only 0.3, so just a little behind Kiefer. Shots off target only 0.5, which is good. That kind of goes. That makes you think, okay, he's keeping them on target for the most part. You know what I mean? You're not missing much. Big chances missed, only 2. Let's see if we can get down here. I wish they had that together. I think they got big chances created down here, don't they? Maybe they don't. Where'd it go? Let's see. Yeah, here it is. Big chances created. Only 1. So he's not as creative a player as some of the other guys that we looked at, like Lordson. But remember, he's 21. He's not the finished product. He's still learning. So he's going to improve. He's got a lot of improving he can do. But he's still a very good player playing at a very high level right now. So be interesting. I've watched him play. I watched one game. He scored one of the games he scored in. He had a really good game in that one. Yeah, he'd be terrific. I do, after I'd already started kind of watching him a little bit, because I do watch some of the Bundesliga games. That's when I started watching him around November time, and he scored in one of those games. And I was like, oh, this guy's something. He's actually pretty good. I thought, man, I'd love to have a player like that. So I started looking at him, and then as it went on, I've seen rumors of some of the bigger Bundesliga teams sniffing around. So he might be just a little out of our reach, but very good player and would be a very good one to get if you could get him. Yeah, I like him a lot. I think he's a terrific player. Definitely the type of player I'd like to, basically a big, tall guy, but still has a lot of pace, though. I mean, a lot of pace. He's very fast, I think, compared to Kiefer for sure. So he can, not only can he beat him physically, he can get in behind and cause issues for teams too. So I think he'd be fantastic. Let's see. And I think that was all I had for the strikers. But I did, and there were so many more guys. There were so many different players I had that I could have done, but I had to keep this. Didn't want this to be a 6-hour show because my Patty might kill me. So I had to keep it somewhat reasonable. But yeah, so he's our he's my last striker. I think he'd be fantastic. Probably a little out of our reach, but man, if you get a player like that, it'd be awesome. Any thoughts on him, Patty?
Not the finished article and
Right.
too expensive for what we're going to buy right now, my guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we want to pay near 10 million on someone who's
Mhm.
the unfinished
Who's
article at the
unfinished,
moment.
right? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
that's fair.
So yeah, I think Tobias Lauritsen is who I would pick out of this group. Is the most likely, I think, that
He's my
can
favorite.
come in reasonable cost, plug and play with the rest of the team, very likely, and would probably back himself to take a spot pretty quickly.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he'd definitely apply pressure. He'd apply pressure to keep him for sure. So, all right, so let's move on, and we'll get into our attacking
Okay.
midfielders, is what I've decided to call them. You can call them wingers, whatever you want to call them.
So we have just so you know, we have 17 left. So we're on pace for a 5-hour show.
Okay, so I'll hurry up. To be fair, we spent a half hour talking about
that's a good
other
point.
stuff.
Okay, that's fair.
So we haven't spent we've been like a half hour on these guys.
Okay, so 3.5-hour show. There you go.
All right, so I'll speed up. We'll get all right, we'll get moving. Next one, Dyson Maeda. I love him.
Not a hope he's 28. He looks 58.
He does, but he's 28, so it's okay. And he plays like he's 21. He's unbelievable. He runs all over the place. I love watching him play. He actually plays their striker right now. He's played a lot just as their number 9. But he does play in that. He can play as a winger. He plays on the left wing sometimes. He can play as the number 10. He plays all over the attacking areas. So he's very much. If you watch him play, and he plays a lot like what Broadhead did the other night. A creative player. He's very good with the ball at his feet. A great dribbler. He makes people look stupid sometimes. Now, granted, he's playing in the Scottish Prem, so some of those players just aren't up to that level. But he is definitely, to me, he's definitely good enough for our level. And he's a fantastic player. He also now they may have changed now because they did change managers, but there was a lot of talk. I think in November, early December, maybe a little earlier than that, maybe even late October, that he was moving on in January. Celtic were looking to move him on. They thought they could, they've got other players they want to play some more, but they've changed managers since then. Brendan Rodgers has moved on, but I think he was probably had a mind to moving Dyson out because I think they could get good money for him, and he would be, they could bring in a bunch of other players because they've got a lot of other issues other than up top. They've got a lot of issues in that squad right now. So money is going to be important for them to get some in, and he's definitely one of their players that is worth some good money.
Yeah, they have someone to replace him without losing too much, and the money might help bring in 2 others.
Exactly. Yeah, you could bring 2 or 3 really good players at their level, and and improve that squad, and only lose him. But he's fantastic. He's a fantastic player. We can bring him. Let me drop this, and I'll bring up SofaScore again, and we can do a little quick comparison. We'll compare him to Josh Windass because I think Josh is probably the good comparison for these guys. So we'll compare all these guys to Josh. Let's see. Dyson. Oops. There we go. Dyson made. Okay. So obviously 28 years old, so he's a little younger than Josh. 4 years younger than Josh, I guess, or 5. Was it 5? Yeah. No, 3. Gosh, my math is fantastic. I promise I went to school. So here's his heat map. As I said, he does play off the left sometimes, so a little more on the left side, as far as, but if you look at it, coverage everywhere. He covers every blade of grass. Yeah. He gets into his own box and defends. He is all over the pitch. You can see he's got a lot of red around the box. That's probably because he does play as the number 9 for them a lot. and they generally have been playing like a 4-3-3. Now their new manager just came in, and they're actually playing a 3-4-3. Wilfred Nancy came in, and they're playing a 4-4 or a 4-3 3-4-3, which is what we just went to. So now he's in a similar thing. They are playing him as a 9 right now, but he could definitely play one of these wing positions, more likely off the left. So it'd be like a broadhead type player. But he's also he could play a false. He really plays like a false 9 when he plays as their 9, and so he drops into these areas. He drops back into here sometimes, and he can score unbelievable goals from outside the box. He's just a terrific player. Ball at his feet, he's unbelievable. He turns defenders in circles, with the ball at his feet. He's fantastic. 6 goals so far this season, and 5 assists. So that just tells you what you're getting. That's 11 goal contributions from him. And we've got 10 from Josh with 7 goals and 3 assists. So comparing the two, similar. For some reason, they don't have their XG. I don't know why they don't have his XG on there. They may not follow the Scottish Prim stuff, maybe. But assists, 5, big chances created, 9. I mean, that's the type of player. He's a creative, attacking midfield / striker type, attacker. I mean, he is a very creative player. He'd be unbelievable for us. I would love to have him. I don't know if we'll spend the money to get him. I don't think he's going to cost as much as they suggest. They've got him at 13. I think on my list it has him around 12. I don't think it's going to cost that much because I think Celtic need to move him.
Money. Yeah.
So I think it might be an 8. Maybe it's closer. You could get him for 8. I think that'd be an unbelievable deal. But I'm sure we'll have competition. Let's put it that way. If he's actually going to go in January, there will be a lot of competition for him, for sure. So. What's your thoughts on him, Patty?
I really like his heat map in the defensive areas. That is an absolute parky type of player there. The fact, like, he even has touches inside his own box.
Yeah.
Heavily, everywhere in his own box. So that is what you want from a defensive point of view with an attacker. Parky likes his attackers to come back and help out.
Yeah.
So absolutely. The other thing I was just looking at here, I'm getting it ready to bring up, is his shot map. I'm not sure by his shot map that he's quite Windass. He doesn't appear to shoot outside the box. But that's not the end of the world either. Can you pull up does Broadhead have stats?
Yeah, I can look at we can
pull up Broadhead stats versus
okay.
Maeda, just out of curiosity.
All right, so let's
I just want to see.
Broadhead. Oh, there we go. Okay. So there's the heat map for Broadhead. A little more centrally. Less in the box, but that's expected because, as I said, Maeda plays as a 9 a lot also, so it's it's a little different comparison.
That's fine. You're not always going to get exact heat maps,
right? Yeah,
different styles of players, and and you know what, that might be a good thing too. If he's coming in and playing in around Broadhead and Windass and Moore, and they're all very different players, he might just be another type that's interesting to have. Another variant on the group. Okay, so here is his shot map. If you want to have a look there. So all the goals are kind of right in front of the goal, mostly with one left, one right from distance. So he can shoot, surely the striker can shoot from there. But just the amount of shots he's taken, all in around the box, he gets in close and he gets on the ball, which is what you would want as well.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I love watching him play. He is definitely. I'd be head over heels if we managed to pull that one off. Not sure that we'll do it, but that'd be awesome. Yeah, so definitely one to watch. Obviously, I don't know if we're even looking at him, to be honest, but
Yeah.
they may just not be looking for that right now. But would be a fantastic player for us. So let's move on so it won't take too
Yep.
much time. Um, Anthony Musaba, he's an interesting one. Um, More of a winger, but he gets inverted. He gets in and attacks. It's not just not an old school winger where he's out wide just knocking balls in for the striker. He's getting inside and getting gets in attacking areas. Played at Sheffield Wednesday. I think last season, maybe the season before. Um, but right now he's at Samson Spor. Um, Heard I did the reason why I brought him up is I did see a rumor that he was looking maybe to get back to England. He wanted to come back and play in England. Just this move, the move to Samson Spor made sense at the time, but I don't think he's necessarily enjoying it. Maybe I think he kind of wants to get back to England. So, be an interesting one. He's 25, so he's not a young, um, uh, not super young, but he's not old either. You know what I mean? He's probably not quite the finished product. You'll still get some improvement out of him. Compared to our squad, he's actually fairly young. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I guess really he'd be pretty young in our squad, but for most squads, that's an average age player probably. Um, he's not going to cost a ton, I don't think, somewhere around 3.5 million. But a player that you know has played at this level and been pretty good. I think a lot of the people at Wednesday really liked him. So he's an interesting one. Let me the uh, bring up him, and let's bring up his stuff. So we'll go. Let's see. Saba. There you go. All right. So yeah, as I said, mostly a left winger, but you see how he gets into the box. He's an
Yeah.
attacking left winger. A lot of red in the box. A lot of he's causing a lot of trouble. Not so much centrally, more wide. You get a little bit down the right because I think he is actually a natural right footer. And he just plays inverted on the left. So you'll see a lot of that. Or teams they'll play a left winger, but they'll play a right footer on that side because they want them cutting in on the right foot, where they can cause people problems. So yeah, he'd be a real. I think he'd be really good. Actually, if you want, we can go through some of this stuff. This is from this season. 4 goals, an assist. Actually, I think I had him on 5. He may be on 5. They only have him on 4. I had 5 goals. I might have included a cup in some sort of cup competition, maybe in the stats that I had. But anyway, yeah, very good. Very similar. You see his stats are very similar to expected assists, though.
Mm.
Suggest he's a little more creative. Look at this 9 big chances created. That's good. That's what you want. He's
Yeah.
causing issues. He's creating problems. Yeah, very good player. I think he's pretty good with the ball at his feet too. Yeah, successful dribbles. Oops, slid down there a little too quick. Where'd it go? Oh, yeah, there it is down here. Successful dribbles. 1.9. Ground duels. Yeah. So some of that, obviously not an aerial threat, but that's not what you'd be asking him to do. But yeah, another player that can play like that. I do want to throw this up. Let's go. Let's look at some of his stats in the championship. So this was the 24-25 season. So last season in the championship, this was his heat map. Similar. He got back and defended some though. If a lot more back here on the wings. Of course, and he was playing a winger for them. So he left or right. Only 3 goals. He underperformed his expected goals, which is a little disappointing. Missed 4 big chances, which is a little disappointing. But he had 6 assists, and 6 assists on 2.79 expected assists. So outperforming that a little bit. Big chances created 4, So, obviously, I think he's playing in a little bit weaker league right now, so his stats are a little better. But he's a player that can't, if you got 3 goals and 6 assists out of a player in the championship, that's not bad. I don't think
Yeah,
anybody's upset about that.
the one issue I would look at with him is
Mhm.
bringing in a winger to not play on the wing.
Well,
Kind
if
of.
we
You would have to push it.
if we played the similar style to what we played the other night, if we play that 3-4-3, I think he can actually play that role really well. I do think he wouldn't work for us if we played the 3-5-2 or the 3-5-1-1. You know what I mean? Then where do you play him? Maybe it doesn't work. So this would be a player that I would say makes more sense if we're playing a 3-4-3 and he can, he's allowed to get out wide and to get creative. But you can see on his, on the heat map from this season, well, that's last season. But even that, this is from the championship. Look where he's getting. Look, you know what I mean? He's getting into the box. He's getting into dangerous areas. So it's even though he's playing on the wing, he's still getting in. He's cutting in here. He's getting not as much because they're asking him to do different things. But he's more of a true winger for them. But in our he's showed. I mean, he's got marks all over the pitch. Let's look. I mean, look, he's got everywhere. So he's a good player, and he can move. He'll get back and defend. He can play anywhere on the pitch. You know what I mean? He can play in different areas. I think mostly that's a design of what they're asking him to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're asking him to do that, but the fact that he's got heat in across the whole width of the pitch suggests that he could play wherever you really need him to. You know what I mean? So I think with him, I think he'd be terrific. And here's my thought on him. I think you bring him in as a backup. I don't think that's necessarily a starter. You know what I mean? I think as a backup for Broadhead, Broady needs a break. You bring in Musaba. I think that's a great change. You know what I mean? I think that's a great switch. Not going to cost us a ton of money either. And it's a player that wants to get back. At least the rumor was he wanted to get back to England. So yeah, I would be. I like that. I like him a lot. If we go back to this real quick, just a quick touch on his map here. Again, they're asking him to do stuff, but look how much red is in the box, though. You know what I mean? It's just and he gets into these areas, and you know how Parky we like to have players that get in these areas and get the ball. Broadhead was getting the ball. Look at kind of right in that area there. Where he gets the ball. Now, some of that is he was playing that in behind more. Wasn't quite doing as much as he did. But I'd love to. I should probably look up his heat map from the other night just to see what it looks like. But I think Musaba fits that, and he's played at this level. That's the thing. Like it was in the chat earlier. They're asking how can you judge players that are playing, and how do they translate from other leagues to our league? Yeah. He's a player that has played in our league.
In our league as well.
So we know he can compete, you know what I mean? And he was younger, you know what I mean? And he's getting older. He's going to, he's not quite the finished article yet. He's probably getting close. But, he's been here. He's done it. He knows what it takes to play in this league. And he was pretty good. He's one of their better players. I think they liked him a lot. So I think he'd be a fantastic player for us. So any other thoughts on him?
No, wouldn't be my first choice. I as an attacking mid, I just don't really like the heat map. Not that he can't do it, but for me, that's kind of an in-depth where you look at exactly how he plays and stuff. So it's not an obvious call for me, particularly. But the pricing is good, quick, age-wise, all the other aspects are there.
I got to answer this. I'm being attacked in the chat.
I know, yes.
And I'm not going to stand for it. Time out here. Look, fella, right here. That's the position I want him to play. I started with it. Get out of here, okay? It doesn't matter what he plays for the other team. It's what we're going to use him
I'm
as.
not writing something that doesn't change on each one.
Yeah, exactly. Got to keep these things nice and neat here. Gosh, dang, if I put too much in there, he'd have been complaining because I put too much info on it. God, I can't please people. Just messing with you. All right.
Oh, your
Here's
colors
another
on this
one.
one. I can't read the fonts.
What's that? Oh, can't read the fonts. Yeah. You know what? Actually, you know what's funny? There were several. Like, there's a few that actually are kind of hard to read because I was fighting with backgrounds, trying to get backgrounds that match the team they're on, and then also could read the font well on it. Yeah, it was a disaster, and I didn't want to use the same background on each one either. So, who's you got it, Josh? You got to wait till the end of the show. We've got like 2 more hours, and we'll get there. All right. So Philip Ortele, also he's another winger. He does play on the wing for the team he's playing right now, but very similar to Musaba, can come in and he's a creative player, but he scores goals too. I think in the 3-4-3 he fits really well. Good pace. Another player I saw. This one came from. That's the thing I want you guys to know. I'm not just picking these guys at random. Sometimes I do, but a lot of times, most of these players were players like I'd see them brought up in conversations where either they were linked with a move to England, or they'd been kind of floated that they wanted to make a move to England, or similar types of things. And I saw him in a chat somewhere, and so that's what put me onto him. He is a Nigerian, but he does have 0 caps, so I don't know if he'd be an issue as far as going down to AFCON. Obviously, he's not playing in AFCON this season, but yeah, he's a good player. He plays at FC Basel. I assume that's how you say that. 26, so a little older, more of the finished product, but still good player. And around 4.5 million or so. Again, like I said, take it with a grain of salt. You don't know. We don't really know what he'd end up costing, but I definitely wouldn't cost an arm and a leg. Let's put it that way. So let me bring up throw thing. Bring up his stats. We'll go to Sofa Score. Let's see. Philip, crap. Okay. Yeah. Sucks. Brain farting on my own players. Okay. So 709. Look at that. That's a left winger. That's a left winger for you. A lot of balls out wide. But look how he gets in towards the middle. Now he's not gonna have a lot over here because he doesn't really play on the right at all for them. It's all down the left. But look in the box. I mean, look how much red is in that box. He's getting into dangerous areas. He's attacking. They've got overlapping either wing backs or full backs that overlap. So he's getting inside. He's a player that's getting inside, getting into dangerous areas, causing a lot of havoc. And he does get central some. You know what I mean? Not as much as he is out wide, obviously, but again, I think that just what they're asking him to do. He does get back and defend in his box, though. You know what I mean? He does get back, so it's a player that will work. He's not gonna sit on his hind end and watch other people defend. He's willing to get in and help defend. So a Parky type player. So he's got 4 goals, 3 assists, so 7 goal contributions this season. One thing, that does jump out a little bit, 7 big chances missed. You don't love that. But he's created 3 big chances. So, he is a little creative, not as creative as some of the others that we've shown. But he's got better stats than, if you look, a lot of his stats are better than Brody's. And it's similar to When I was looking at it earlier, comparing him to Windass, it's very similar. Similar numbers to Windass. I think Windass had him in a few of those areas. Yeah, another player that if depending on the system we're going to play, he'd work for us, may not work for us if we're playing a 1-1 or the 5-3-2. So it just really depends on what we're going to do. But I mean, let's be honest, Broadhead really didn't work that well for us either in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's really good when we're using the right system. We saw how good he could be when we're using the right system. And so that would be another player just like that. Honestly, out of curiosity, let's look at his. Here, let's change the season. So let's go back to the 23-24 season for Broadhead. Yeah, look at that. So not quite similar stuff, similar type stuff, but that was he was playing as a left winger, right, for Ipswich. And getting in the box, similar type areas, not quite as deep, not so much in here. You can see how his path was through here, which actually fits what we do really well with the 3-4-3.
He
Makes
was
a lot
playing
of
in that
sense.
area in the
Yes,
last match a lot.
exactly. And that was So that's interesting that it really, if you look at the two heat maps, they don't change a lot. Let's do that. Yeah, it didn't change a lot either at all. It's still right through there, even though he's been playing as a 10 for us more this season than he has as a wide man. It's still similar places. So that's interesting. But yeah, Filippo Tele, just another name that I saw. Like I said, it was one that kind of popped up, so it got onto my radar. Thought I'd throw him in there. I liked him. I'm not convinced we get a player in this position. You know what I mean? I think you could if you get the right player. This is probably something you do in the summer anyway. So I don't think this is a position where we gotta do something right now.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But yeah, I just wanted to throw some names up there for everybody to look at, get everybody's thoughts. Anybody else have? I haven't really been paying attention to the chat. Was there any other names that you guys had as that were attacking midfield type players that we'd thrown in there? Anybody?
No, I didn't see any come up. Yeah.
Okay, so it'd be just depends on. Yeah, here you go, Habs. Exactly. He would play well with 3-4-3, and he'll be given freedom to move around, playing as a hybrid. Yep, exactly. And I think he'd fit right in there. Be another one to fit really well. So let's move on. I think we're on to the next. Yes, left wing back. This is where we get into, to me, I think one of the most important positions we need to be looking at in this window. So let's move on. Harry Amass. A lot of talk that that Manchester United are going to be recalled. Well, actually, I think he only had a short-term loan deal anyway. I think his loan deal ends in January. So I don't think it's a recall. I think his loan deal ends. I'm sure Wednesday are going to try like hell to get that extended because he's been one of their best players, if not their best player. I mean, it's probably Barry Bannon's probably been their best player, but Harry Amass has been unbelievable for them, and he is playing as a wing back. They've been playing a 3-4-3, 3-5-2 type, similar to what we've been doing for the most part, I think, this season. But he's been fantastic for them. They had him in a market value of about 4.5, 4.32. I don't know if Manchester United will want to sell him just yet. So this might be a loan move. This might be a player we bring in on loan. But in a loan move, they're going to want him playing. If Kikache's healthy, what I mean? How much time we'll be able to do. So I don't know. Depending on the situation, I don't know what the what we can do. You know what I mean? Like if it's a deal that we can do. Let's put it that way. So he does have a lot of youth caps for England. Under all their youth through their youth setup, under 17s, 18s, 19s, all that. He's a a very good player. And let me bring up his stuff, and we'll compare him. I'll ask you who do you want to compare him to? Let me drop this. Oops, there we go. Who do we want to compare him to? I mean, I think has McLean had the most games on the left, or what do we do?
Is he
Um,
left-sided?
yes, left-sided. Harry Mass is a left wing back.
Throw
So
throw up Longman and just see what it shows on his heat map,
okay,
because we'll see how it compares both sides.
okay. So there's Harry Mass, and we'll do Ryan Longman. Okay. All right. So obviously, Longman's stuff's gonna be a little more broken up because he's playing both sides.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at that map. As a left wing back, I mean that's about what you're looking
Well,
at. And
Longman is tight on both sides. Like you can
yeah,
see, it's
yeah,
still narrow.
wider. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely wider. He's not adventure. Harry Mass is more adventurous. It looks like getting
He will
inside a
chase
little bit.
someone down by the look
Yep,
of it, yeah.
yep. Also getting in the back stick.
Yeah.
Looking like, and Parky will love that. He'll want to play. He wants a player that he wants his wingbacks getting in here, especially if the ball's over here. So yeah, I mean, it's exactly the heat map that you want it to
Yeah.
look like.
Yeah. And even looking at Longman, like Longman's defensive either side of
Mhm,
the box,
mhm.
it's not as strong. Even
Right.
if even if you allow for the fact he doesn't have as many touches, in which
Mhm.
case it would be redder, but still it's not as covered
Right.
as that back
Mhm.
corner.
Yep. Yep. Totally agree. So that's I think I think Harry Masses would make a ton of sense. Love to get him on a permanent. I don't know that they'd let him go. Scroll down through here when we look at some of his stats. So he's got a goal, got one assist, expected assist 2.4, which, when you're playing in a bad team, you got a lot of guys that probably don't finish that well.
Yeah.
That's probably what it's going to be. So he's actually got more expected assists than Longman.
Yeah.
And he's got the same amount of assists. So yeah, maybe he should have 3 assists, possibly. You'd think if he had a better team. He's created 2 big chances. Longman's created 3, so that's good. But yeah, they're good. I mean, he's a good player. He's good, pretty good defensively too. Yeah, he's got some better
Yeah.
clearance. His defensive numbers are much better than Longman's, which
Yeah.
isn't a surprise because we've all kind of said that Longman really is more of a winger than he,
Yeah. Yeah.
he's always been a winger. We kind of converted him to a wing back, so yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yes, so
Anything
this
stand
column.
out there? Anything stand out there for you?
No, I really like it. The question is, what exactly is his level? Now, of course, he can do all the running and he can come up and back down and all this sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, really interesting. I would like to buy someone like this
Mm-hmm.
and just say, okay, well, fight it out, guys.
Yep.
Have at it. Whether we would get him on a loan when we already have a loan on that side, probably not. With
We
regards
don't have a
buying
loan
him.
on that side. We don't have a loan on the left. Our
Oh, on the
loan's on the
left.
right.
Sorry,
Rory's on the
sorry,
right. Yeah.
sorry. Yes,
The
on the
Mass is
right.
on the left. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah,
I think you can get away with Kache.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can turn around and say, well, sorry, Kache, you missed half the season. Tough.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You're
Mm-hmm.
sitting for a while.
Yeah.
If Harry Mass is good enough.
Mm-hmm. I think he is. I mean,
Yeah.
he's been one of their standouts for Wednesday. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see
Yeah.
if they do send him back out where he goes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure Wednesday want to keep him. I just don't know that. I don't know if that works well for him. For
Yeah.
his
So
development, I don't know with his development. Do you want if you're his home team? Would you want him going back to Wednesday where they're just going to continue to struggle?
yeah.
Or do you want to get him around better players, especially if you think if they think that he's got a future for Man United? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is obviously that would be their ultimate goal. They want him going to Man United and playing, but I think it just depends on how they feel. I know you pulled that comment up. Him and the manager had somewhat of a public fight. Yeah, the manager. It was really strange, and I don't know if I know we talked about it after a show for sure, but we might have talked about it on one of the champ chats. But yeah, Ruben Amorim was just kind of just out of nowhere, just kind of shit on him and kind of said that he's struggling down at Wednesday, and I actually initially kind of thought that maybe he meant Wednesday were struggling as a team, and so he was with. But apparently, that was more directed at Harry Amass, which I thought was, and a lot of people were like, "What is he talking about? He's the best player on that team. Like, how you say that player's struggling when he's he's
Yeah.
trying to carry a really bad team."
I didn't dig into this one, but I know afterwards there was two factions.
Mm-hmm.
And some were
Yeah.
saying that he was shitting on the player, and a lot of people were saying no, it was lost a little bit in translation. And by he's having a hard time, it really meant he didn't like it because he was doing everything himself, kind of. The team's not strong enough, so he's working his ass off, but they're always losing.
Right.
So yeah, he's having a hard time down there. So it depends, really, who knows. But yeah, it depends on the manager. It also depends on the style that they want for the future, because Man City have gone the road of selling players but having big clauses in it.
Yeah.
And now that we've experienced that and are obviously comfortable with it, if we really want him, then maybe we'll put forward that type of offer to Man United and say, you know what, now how about this? We'll take him now. We'll get a good deal, and you'll have a very heavy percentage later if he gets sold on, and you'll have a purchase option, a first purchase option as well at market value and stuff. So maybe there are ways around it, maybe they're not. But it's an interesting one, and yeah, this is the type of player for kind of the build on the next couple of seasons. And for maybe making money for the future, if you were planning on staying in the championship for 4 or 5 seasons, 6 seasons, this is the type of player I'd be after. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of upside with him. So
I would absolutely want him because of the age to be a purchase if you could do a deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
The benefit of having him as an extra.
He doesn't count towards the squad.
Yeah. And especially if you can build yourself players who are a team of players who are your starter, but they're also free, that will give you miles of option in your squad to have a severely deep squad of your players. Because like we talk about the likes of Lee and a few other players, who are around the periphery, you might like to keep them, but you just don't have the space. If you can find a couple of players like Harry Amass who are getting in the starting 11, who are useful, they are also giving you that extra player you can have hanging around the team that may not be needed for the whole season, but you would like to have them if injuries start happening.
Yep. For sure. Yep. I think he'd be a terrific signing. Would love to get this one. I think there's a realistic chance that we could get him, if nothing else, on loan. So there's definitely possibilities with that one. Let's move on. Dennis Sirkin. This one is really interesting too. He is at Sunderland. He played a big part last season at Sunderland. The list I've got here, these are his stats from last season. Now, of course, they play in a back four, so he's a fullback, but he's an attacking back four. They get their fullbacks up the pitch, and they're putting crosses in, similar to what our wing backs are. So while he wouldn't be as they aren't as attacking in that system as what he would be in our system, I think he'd fit us. He'd be a very good he's a very good defender. Plus, he's he can get forward, and he's shown that he can get forward. He scores goals. He can get assists, and I think in our system he'd work really good. high level player who was in a team that got promoted last season and was a big part of it. So let me pull up his stats. Let's see. Oh, I gotta get on the right page here. Right. Okay, and he's 23. That was the other thing. So he's a younger player. You know, he counts towards the squad, but he's got plenty of room to move up. Okay, so this is this season. I want to go to last season because that's championship stuff. So at our level, last season, this is what his heat map looked like. And you got to remember, he's a fullback, not a wing back. So that's in a back four, not in a back, in a back three where he's getting forward. So they're asking him to do a little bit less, not do as much. But you can see he gets central. Yeah. You know what I mean? He does come inside. He does help, help and defend in some of those areas. But he also gets forward, even as a fullback, and he's getting balls in the box. And still, he's getting into the box and causing issues too. You know what I mean? He's not afraid to get in there on the backside if he needs to. I think he'd be a very, very good signing, high-level signing for us. And I do think he could play as the wingback. He might not be quite as pacey as you'd want. He's definitely no Kabore, but I don't think he's slow. You know what I mean? He probably is very similar to Kikache, if I'm being honest. But yeah, you can see he played 2,700 minutes last season in the championship in their promotion run. I think they finished the season 4th and then won the playoffs to go up. He got 3 goals and 2 assists. Big chances created 3, and again, that's from a fullback, not necessarily a wingback. So you always got to keep that in mind. He's not going to have super high.
Do you think Parkey will convert a fullback for our wingback?
I think he can. I think in this situation you might. I would make the argument that if we're weak anywhere, we're weak in the defensive duty. We don't have defensive wingbacks. You know what I mean? Like they don't defend that well. And I think if you had players, the ones that did, to be honest, Kabore actually defended really well at wingback. And we saw how much better we look. And same with Kikache. He's a really good defender.
Yeah.
He's a much higher level defender than the others that we have. And so when we had those guys, we were a much better team because those guys could defend. So I think if you took players, Kabore is a fullback. He plays fullback. Everywhere he plays, Kabore has played fullback. He's not a wingback. Even Burkina Faso, he plays as a fullback. They play a 4-2-3-1, and he plays a fullback. He's just an attacking fullback. So, I mean, he can absolutely do that. You know what I mean? This is though he's a left back, he can play left wing back.
Yeah, it might. You know what? It might be interesting to have 2. Where one is even more attack focused and one is even better and more solid in defense.
Yeah,
maybe it might actually work at times to do that.
Yeah, I think he'd be fantastic. So for me, it's I think if you look at the even his heat map, he's still getting into the same areas that you want your wingbacks getting into. He's still his heat map isn't far off of what our wingbacks heat map is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, as long as you can cross, you just want them getting up there and getting that ball in. Yeah. Yeah,
exactly. So I think he can. I think he's a good enough player. And again, at 23, he's not the finished product. He can get better. But he is one that it sounds like they are looking to move him on. I don't think they think he quite cuts it at the Prim level yet. So I think they'd be happy to move him on, get him out of there. And so, I think there's a few players that Sunderland are looking to move on, and I'd like to get.
I'd like to get them.
I'd like to get a hold of them. There's another. We'll get to the other one later, but I have another Sunderland player that I like.
Can we do a group deal for the Sunderland extras?
Yeah, there you go. I like it. Let's group package. We get a deal for them. We pay a little less, and we buy them both. I like it. I like a bargain. We get a bargain. But yeah, Dennis Serkin would be a fantastic. I'd love to have him. So definitely think he'd be fantastic for us. Let's move on so we don't take too long. Now this is an interesting one. I like this one a lot. Ray's Cleary. He is. He's he's actually right now for Barnsley. He's playing as a winger. He's actually playing as a left winger. And he's did he get out of sync here? I might got out of sync. I'm not sure. Anyway, I am still on I didn't miss. Hold on. No, yeah, okay. Maybe he didn't. All right, Ray's Cleary. I must put him back in here. I was debating on where I wanted to put him, and I must have decided to leave him at left wing back because actually he's a natural right footer. But he played left wing back in the National League a couple seasons ago. And then he's moved up to Barnsley, and he's playing as a left winger, but he's inverted. But he's got pace to burn, physical, can cross with both feet. He's actually really good with both feet. This is a player that I think we could get fairly cheap. I think, honestly, they've got the market value around $500K. I think it'd cost us about $1 million, if we're being honest. But he's got 5 goals and 6 assists.
Yeah.
He is a player. Now, granted, it's at League One. I understand. So it's right. And that's the thing. It's a League One player, but he's improving. He's 21 years old. I think he is free. I think me and you talked about this last night. I think he wouldn't count on our squad at least the rest of this season, but then the following season, I think he would. I think he's good for this season. Am I right there, or am I thinking wrong?
I'll double check it, but it looks like it. Yes.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think he'd count toward our squad if we brought him in January. So that'd be good.
Yeah,
that'd be good.
He's got the remainder of the season.
But we know that, to your point, where Dennis Serkin is a fullback playing, and we're going to ask to play wing back. Parkey has generally, when you look at Longman was a winger that he converted to even Macca was a winger that he's converted to a wing back. Barney was a winger that he's converted to a wing back. A lot of the players that we have play wing back for us are wingers that we've converted to wing backs. And I saw that. Yeah, it'd be fantastic. But yeah, he is a winger that could absolutely play wing back for us. I think he can play both sides. In the National League, when he played, he was, he played on the left. He played as a left wing back, but he was still causing all sorts of issues. He was a very attacking wing back, and I think he'd fit us like a glove. Great pace. I think this is one. It's kind of like you put it's a little bit of a punt because you don't know that he can do it at this level. But I think we're gonna have to start taking those types of risks on some of these players, so that we're not spending $10 million on a player. You know what I mean? Because we can't continue to do that forever. Because eventually there will be issues as far as FF. You can't just spend a ton of money every season. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to get deals, and I think this is one where you could get him a little cheaper, and he's got a lot of upside, and I think he could be unbelievable. So whether he played on the left or I'm not sure where they'd play him. We possibly on the right because I think he is a natural right footer, but he has a great cross from the left. With his left foot, he's really good on both feet. So that's just another reason to like him because he can play both sides.
This is an interesting one. If you were going to back Kakacha and Kabore and kind of go with what we have, this is the type of backup that you could bring in. Spend a little bit of cash, no more than 2 million, maybe. And you have a bit of extra coverage for both sides. He needs to prove himself, and that's an interesting one. I like that.
So here's the seat, Matt. Now this is this season for Barnsley, and again, he's playing as a winger, not as a wing back. So he's playing more forward. So having most of but really, if he's playing wing back for us, we'd like to see it.
Yeah.
it looks somewhat like this anyway. You know what I mean? We do want to see some of that. Now we just like to, you can see he does get back, he does track back and help defend, but they're not necessarily asking him to do a ton of that. Now, if I go up here and go to his National League season, which was 2 seasons ago, it was last season, 24-25 season. As a wingback, look at that heat map.
That's crazy. That's nice.
So that was him playing, and I went through it. I went through his games. He played basically every game at left wing back. There was like 2 or 3 games where he filled in at striker, where they went to like a 4-4-2, and he filled in at striker. But basically every game that I looked at through his for Hartlepool as as a starting position, he started at left wing back. And they basically played like a 5-3-2. Playing sometimes like it showed a 3-4-3, but mostly a 5-3-2. But he was a wing back, and just look at that heat map. So incredible. He had 6 goals and 2 assists that season as a wing back. And of course, this is National League, so it doesn't necessarily translate, like for like. But it's. I just thought it was really interesting, his heat map from that season.
There's a question here that I find interesting. Is the no, wrong one, sorry. This one. Is that heat map a product of the competition level? Well, interestingly, you would say no, it shouldn't be. However, if it was a factor of the competition level, then what that will imply to you is that he's much better than the competition.
Right.
Which means he can play higher and he needs to be moving.
Yeah.
So and he got his move. He got out of the National League and he got to League One.
Yeah, League One, and he's killing it. He's got 5 goals and 6 assists.
And he's still doing well. Yeah.
And that's the thing. And he's done 5 goals and 6 assists. Oops, sorry. Oh, sneak peek. 5 goals and 6 assists, and that's only on 10 starts in League One. So he's absolutely killing it right now.
It's a bit of a punt when you turn around and you say, okay, 6 months at National League, 6 months at League One, and now you're potentially going to bring him in and have him sit the benches back up in Championship. It is a bit of a risk, but it's interesting that maybe he can pull it off.
It's fantastic. This one, I really like this one. I would love to see us get a player like this. And here's the thing. The other thing is, if we went to a 3-4-3, he could also play as the 10/winger if we wanted him to. You know what I mean? He doesn't have to play wing back for us. If we've gotten a pinch, he could play up there too. He's showing that at Barnsley. So he kind of a player that can do a lot for us. Play both sides, further forward, further back. Just depends on what we want. But yeah, I would love to get a hold of him. Big, physical, speedy guy. Love him. I love him.
The only kind of risk that there is with this is you only have the half season to figure out how good he is before you kind of have to make decisions then as to can he make the 25. It's a short period, but I like the idea. I do.
Yep. I think he'd be fantastic. I'd love to see him. Let's be honest, if we don't get him now, he's probably getting a championship move next summer. You know what I mean? I doubt Barnsley are able to hold on to him, especially if he continues on the form he's on. If he finishes the season with 10 goals and 12 to 15 assists, he's not staying in the League One. He's going. Somebody will pay money for him. So I'm hoping we can get him in January. We go after him. I have seen that there is interest in him, championship interest.
Did you say Barnsley bought him this season?
Yes, he's only played for them for 6 months. Yeah, but they bought him in the summer.
He's not in their list of players bought.
They bought him. Yeah, he's there.
Okay.
Yep. They picked him up.
I'm not screwed up on that one. I'll have to go to the different one.
Missed it. Yeah, but yeah, they got him this summer. So yeah, he's fantastic. So let's go. Let's go on to the next one. Mass Rots. This is an interesting one. Actually, I can't remember who it was. Somebody had thrown some names in the chat, and I saw this one, so I decided to include it because I liked it. It wasn't somebody that was on my radar, but once I looked at him, I was like, oh, that's a really good shout, and I liked him, so I thought I'd include him. So I can't remember who it was in the chat in the Discord, but somebody had thrown this name out there, and so I, thank you, and just kind of did this one for you, I guess. But I liked it. It was a really good shout. The one thing, and me and Patty kind of talked about this last night. We were kind of talking after we were live last night. I worry a little about his physicality, but he's only 19, so that's kind of one of those things where I think he can get more physical, but I do wonder if he'll struggle a little bit in the championship because he does seem a little I don't want to say weak, but he just doesn't look like a real physical player, and I think sometimes you get in some pretty physical battles in the championship. So that would be my only knock against him. But as far as a player, I think he's really good, and he's 19, so I think that's fantastic. He's got a bunch of youth caps for the Netherlands. That's the other thing. Does he want to make a move to the championship? We don't know. We like to assume that everybody wants to come to England, but not everybody does. He may just want to stay there. But he's a really interesting player. I looked at some of his, on SofaScore. His stuff looks good. We'll go to that here in a second. But yeah, he's played 17. He's started all 17 of them. 2 goals, 2 assists. So he's contributing to the team. I like him a lot. I think he could be a really good player. Would fit us pretty well. Let's go to SofaScore and bring up his stuff. Oops. And there we go. So, around 5 million, I think. But look at the heat map. He's a really nice heat map, and maybe doesn't quite do as much. Doesn't get quite as forward, up in here that you'd like to see. But
he takes
it's not
corners.
Yeah, I see that he does take corners, so that's interesting. That's something that we might like. But he does get more central. That's something that we've seen with a lot of these players, where they do seem to drift a little more central compared to what Ryan Longman's showing here. And even if I pull Macca up, I think he's even less. He gets even less involved. Inside. James McLean, go. So if you look at Macca's season heat map, he's way wide. He's playing wide, and now in defense he'll get in here a little bit, but he stays pretty wide. He doesn't get too far in. So you look at that heat map. I like that a lot. Good player, good ball. I did get to see. I did watch one of his games. From what I could tell, looked really good with the ball at his feet. Good passing. I thought he looked pretty good. But my major thing was he just doesn't look very physical. And I don't know that I saw him get bullied or anything, but I don't think the Eredivisie is necessarily a league that you get a lot of physicality in. So I don't, it's kind of one of those, is it really, it's hard to judge that. And that's kind of one of those things, but you're getting him here early enough at 19. I think he can learn, he can get tougher and he can get, a little more. That's something, playing in the league and playing, practicing with our players, you'll get some better stuff out of him. But yeah, look at the contribution, look at the stats for, compared to Macca's. I mean, just looks a much better player. Of course, it is a different level, but I would say the Eredivisie is probably a similar level, at least as far as, skills goes. I think it's probably pretty similar to the championship. Physicality, definitely not as much, but it's a fairly comparable league. I think. I don't think it's too big of a jump from that to the championship. What's your thoughts on him?
It's definitely similar to the championship, and it's one of these like the Scottish League where the better teams would be of a higher standard, and
Yeah.
Sometimes as you go towards the bottom of the league, they might drop down a bit in quality. But yeah, like the top half would be fairly solid, which they're in.
Okay.
Yeah, this looks like a decent shout. All right, yeah, I like it.
All right. So, Patty, you said you need a drink of water. Go get your drink of
Yeah.
water. I will move on to our next player. Drop Patty off there. Okay. All right. Now let's move on. Right wing backs. So let's see what we got here. I'm trying to get through this. I know we're kind of. Oh crap! Did I add the wrong? What in the world? Where is my? Why am I missing stuff? Hold on. We got something wrong here. Something isn't working right. This has got. I'm missing a bunch of players. This ain't good. Okay, hold on. Technical difficulties. I have to see what is going on with my. Why did that not? That's weird. Okay, let me. I gotta redo this real quick. Let me load. Oh, I know what I did. Okay, I loaded the wrong thing. Yep. Okay. Sorry, guys. I gotta drop this one out. Move studio, and then I've got to add my other one back in. So I added players, but I had already added this into our thing on here, so that's why it didn't load all my players. I was gonna say I about freaked out. I thought, oh god, it didn't save all my it didn't save all my players. But it did. It just I didn't reload it in. So sorry about that. Blame the big fat dumb guy. Let's see. Here we go. All right. So let me select that. Okay. Now I think we should have our right wing backs as soon as this finishes loading. All right. Here we go. So now let me get through all these. Now this has changed. I think this is why I got confused about the what's his name, because I think I have him listed as a right wing back in this list. So I think here in a minute you're about to see him again as a right wing back. Was there anybody? I'm gonna make sure I didn't. Okay, so there's left wing backs. Here we go. That's what I did. Okay, I added Harrison Burroughs last minute. So one more left wing back. That's what happened. I knew I did something. Josh, I blame Ken too. Definitely his fault. He lives in upside down land. It's got to be his fault. He's screwing up my stuff. All right, so let's do one more left wing back because I moved Clary to raise Clary to a right wing back because he's a natural right footer. That's why I was a little confused when he popped up earlier. But it was because I didn't reload. So one more left wing back, Harrison Burroughs. We actually saw him a couple nights ago. Interestingly, they brought him on as a left winger. I think that just goes to show the selection issues they have. I don't think he's as. I mean, he can play that, but he's a wingback, if we're being honest. He's a very good wingback at this level. I'm surprised they were not playing him as much as a fullback because I think he's much better suited at it. He's only started 12 games, which isn't nothing to it's not bad, but it's surprising when I think he started almost every game for him last season. He was very good. So I'm really surprised they're not using him as much. So I'd be interested if they'd be willing to get rid of him because I think this could be a wing back that we could have for a long time and could move up, even into the Prem. I think eventually if we get there. I think he's fantastic. He played at Peterborough before Sheffield United. He was a player I wanted years ago. I think when we first were heading into League One, I was hoping we could grab him somehow, but that's when he made the move to Sheffield. So yeah, we couldn't get a hold of him. But yeah, he's a fantastic player. Can take free kicks. He's really good player. He scored. I think he scored a couple. Maybe last season, I think he scored a couple really nice free kicks. He's a really good player. They've got the market value around 10. That's probably similar. I just wonder if he he was voted in the team of the season, the championship last season. Yeah, he was fantastic last season. I was just surprised. I was surprised they brought him in as a winger the other night, John. I just don't know if they why. I mean, I just worry about what their options are if they're playing him like that. But the fact he's played in 22 games and only started in 12, that's interesting. John saying he's got a few niggles, but I mean he's still playing, so I mean surely you'd think he'd start more than that. I'd be really interesting. I'd love to get him. I honestly I don't know if he's available. We could pull him up on. I can bring up his sofa score real quick. Let's see where to go. All right, so let's go. Harrison Burroughs. There we go. Okay. So this will be the stuff from this season. There's his heat map. Not quite as red as some of the other ones we saw, but look, he can take. See, he takes corners. He can take free kicks. Very technically good player. Yeah, like I said, I'm still surprised he's not played as much for them. But I guess if he's having some injury issues, maybe that's why. 55 minutes per game. 55 minutes per game, I think is surprising. Expected goals 1.4. He scored one. He's got an assist. Yeah, not quite as involved this season as he was last season. I'm going to pull up his last season numbers because he was terrific. He was unbelievable. Oops. Oh, hold on. Back. I don't know what happened here. Oh, refresh. Not sure what's happening with my sofa score. Okay. I hope my internet's not about to drop. Might lose me.
Probably thinks you're a bot because you've been on it for so long.
Well, I wonder. Yeah, I don't know what the heck it's doing. Okay, well, let me pull that off. I'll see if I can get that working back again in the behind the scenes. But yeah, so interesting player for sure. I need to stop sharing. Here we go. Why that did that? But yeah, I don't know what's going on with Sofa Score right now. It's being ridiculous. Okay, well, we might not be able to do the Sofa Score from here on out, which would speed things up. Anyway, yeah, he really good player though. He's Mark's saying, hey, lay off me. Okay, I'm no computer. The fact I'm on a computer right now is a minor miracle. Okay, so lay off me, Hunter. There you go. That's it. Found the end of the internet. We're in trouble. Yeah, I agree with John here. Fantastic. Don't see where they sell him. I don't think they will either. But I just thought, maybe they're not playing him as much. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe they don't want him. We'll see. I was surprised he didn't start the other night, and surprised that when they brought him on as a winger. So I just wondered. So interesting player we threw out there. Let's move on to the right wing backs now. All right. We've already done him. He can play on both sides. That was the switch I made. Yeah, we had an issue, Patty. I forgot to reload all my new players, so I finished that because I had half the group last night, and I did the rest of them overnight. So, yeah. So I have him listed as a right wing back in this list because he can play both sides.
Yeah.
But he has done it on the left. But so here's my next one, Joe Scally. This player is probably a little bit of a reach for us because right now he's actually getting some pretty good game time in the Bundesliga at Mönchengladbach. He's a USA international. He's got 22 US caps. I would love to have him. He's a really good player. I think he's the type of player that you could get in. I mean, he's 22. You get him in, and he could stay here for a while.
Mm-hmm.
He could move up. I think he's good enough. There was rumored interest from the Prem. I don't know if that was real interest or if that was just you get a lot of the rumor stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But he is playing at a high level in Germany. They're not one of the best teams. They have been at times been a good team. I don't know where they're at in the table right now. So I don't know if they're at the higher end. I think they're probably mid-table. They're generally, I think, a mid-table Bundesliga team.
They are 12th out of 18.
Okay, so yeah, mid-table, lower mid-table right now. So it's not like they're, and that's the thing. Like the Bundesliga is interesting because I think a lot of the lower end Bundesliga teams are probably closer to championship level to me.
Mhm.
Because I don't think it's like they definitely the Bundesliga. There's not the money in it like there is in the Prem. You know what I mean? Now the higher end teams, when you get to the Borussia Dortmunds and the
Yeah.
the high end, the big German teams, they
Bayern
have
Leverkusen,
yeah,
Leipzig, Stuttgart.
exactly. They've got big money, but once you get lower than them, a lot of those teams they don't have that kind of money. They don't have the TV money that we have
Mhm.
in England. Um, so in the UK, so it's interesting. Um, I think he's a player. It'd be interesting if he'd want to make a move. I don't know if he'd want to make that move. I could see where you possibly say, maybe that's a sideways move or a move down.
Mhm.
But when you got a team like, with the ambition that we have, and I guarantee we could pay him what he's making. I'm almost
Yeah.
positive we
Yeah.
could pay him as much, if not more than what they're paying him. Because I guarantee you they're not paying him a ton of money. So I think money wise, I think you could make it work. I think he'd be a great player. Imagine getting a USA international. I don't think this is going to be in the coaching staff's mind, but for
Mhm.
me, I look at it, from if you look at it from an American point of view, how cool would it be to have a USA international going into a World Cup season, into a World Cup year, and you got one of those guys is playing for Wrexham, that'd be so awesome. Would love to have him. Um, and he's really good. I think he's a really good player. And he's played right back and right wing back. He can do both. Good defensively. He can get forward too. Um, I guess I can try and see if his score works. Don't know if it's gonna work. I'm gonna try it in the background again, see if it. Hey, it came back up. Okay. So let me get it back going. Because I do want to look at do some comparison stuff. Let's see here. A share screen. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. Share. Okay. Bring that up. Oh, here we go. There we go. Okay. So let's get Joe Scally in. Joseph Scally. And who do you want to compare? Who do you want to compare him with? Longman? Or do you want to do Kabore? What do you think?
You're putting him in on the right. So yeah,
Yeah,
on the
right
right.
winger, right wing back.
Dude, what's Cabore's map look like? Is there one?
Let's get it. This there we go. There. Let's take a look. So there we go. Again, our player is showing a little bit more width. They don't come in as much as where you've shown him. He's getting a little more. Again, I think he does play right back, so he's a little
Mhm.
more
Yeah.
defensive for them. Uh, but they have gone. He has played wing back in the past, so it's something he can do.
Mhm.
But yeah, they're. I think right now they're playing him as a right back. I think they're playing a back four. So he's a little more defensive minded, but a player that can get forward. He's got 2 assists, so be interesting to um, see what some of these numbers look like. No goals for either of them, but on the assists, he's similar as far as expected assists. He's got 2 to 3 for Kabore. Crosses only 15%, not great. There. Long balls, I'm not too worried about that. So yeah, more of a defensive minded option, but a player that plays at a high level. A lot of times in the U.S., I think it'd be interesting. See if they got some of his. Let's see Copa America. So this would be with the U.S. I think he plays more of a wingback. Yeah, so a little more. You see, it's more of a wider, and obviously it's not as filled in because he didn't play as much. I don't think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you kind of see where he plays, and that's as a wingback because in the U.S. setup, I think we generally play with wingbacks as compared to fullbacks. He's more of a 3-4-3. I think is mostly what Poch has been doing. So, but yeah, so yeah, Joe Scally, I think he'd be a great signing. High level technical player. I think he'd fit us like a glove, and and just as selfishly, he's an American, and I'd like to see an American.
This really is in the age bracket, price bracket
Yeah.
that we want to be looking at,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Mhm.
And the intangible, obviously, about the USA, I think the first USA player, especially if they play for the national team, is going to be worth his weight in gold in the ancillary benefits.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be someone used for marketing and everything else that comes with it. There'll be a lot of extra value added for a international USA player.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. I think it'd be fantastic. Yeah.
I actually think it would be a bargain, to get someone. Now, maybe we can't get him at that sort of price either. Like if we don't want to let him go, but yeah, if he's good enough and you bring him in even for 10 million, and he can play for the next 5-6 seasons with us potentially, and go up and sit a bench in the Prem maybe. These are the type of players that you can potentially give a shot in the Prem. When you make it there, especially if it takes us 3 years to get there, and he's built up and has become that player.
Yeah, for sure. Wayne Evans, you said Kabore looked way more attacking than the heat map. Yeah, and I think I think if you look at the especially in the Bundesliga, he's playing a fullback, so he's not going to be as attacking as what our wingbacks are. So I think that's more of I don't think that's a him thing. I think it's just more of what he's being asked to do. So he's going to be a little more defensive as a fullback compared to what Kabore is in our setup as a wingback. Because basically when we have the ball, our wingbacks are wingers. if we're being honest, that's just what they do. They're more wingers than they are backs, I'd say, for us. But all right, so let's move on. For 2 hours, 17 minutes in, get moving. Hamza Chowdhury. So he plays fullback for Leicester. I think he's a pretty good technical player. He actually started in the game against us, and I thought he had a decent game against us. The reason why I went with him as an option is we were linked with him in the summer, and I know it. I mean, how many times have we been linked with a player, and then we finally get them a couple? We end up with them a couple windows on. I think that's happened a few times where we revisit some of those players that we've been linked with. And so I just kind of threw this one in there because I thought, obviously there was some interest in the summer because it was from the rumors. It wasn't just random rumors. It was definitely coming from teams or from reporters that were high level reporters. So be real interesting. What's going on? Let's see. He's talking to Sean. But yeah, the one major rumor I have seen on Hamza Chowdhury is I do think Sheffield United are interested. I think they want him. I'd be interested what they can do though. What kind of I don't know what their money situation is. There seems like a lot of rumors that they don't have a ton of money, so they may not have to. They may have to sell before they buy.
Plus, if you're looking at the new owners and they're talking about AI assisted purchases and stuff like this, they're going to look younger than 28. They're going to preferably want to be in a younger talent pool that they can sell on later.
Uh,
So he's at the wrong side of that.
yeah, and that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. You buy in
The
and
one
give him a
thing with
3-year
him,
contract, he's 31.
yeah,
There's no value left.
right. The one thing with him though is he is he can do multiple things. So he could play as the wingback for us, but then he can also play as a defensive midfielder, which obviously I don't think um, we're shorthanded necessarily at that spot. But Parky likes a player that can do multiple things,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
he can play in that role. Also, he has played in that role before. So he's an interesting one. I just kind of threw him in there because I thought because we were linked in the summer, and I thought I know how Parky likes to go back in for players, and so I threw it back out there, threw it back in there just to see. You never know. It seems like the chat's not too blown away by him. Although Wayne did have a fairly good point. They'll lose the ball if he tries a header, which that's probably fair. might lose the ball. But yeah, he's an interesting one. Do we want to look him up on SofaScore? Or are you good with it?
I think everybody knows him pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah, we're good with it. But he is a player. Another thing is he's a player that's playing at this level. So
I wouldn't be surprised if we got him. Like if we went after him,
yeah,
I could see it. Yeah,
hmm
I understand why Parky might do it.
yeah. It's an interesting one. I'd be curious what it ended up actually cost. They got him at like 4.3. I could see him for even less than that, maybe. I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, and I haven't seen any new rumors or anything. So but this was just purely off of summer speculation. I threw his name back out there. Um, this one I like. Ballymumba. Um, he's playing at Plymouth. Although he has played in the uh, so he played with them last season in the championship. So he's played at this level.
Yeah.
And he's played a wingback. He can also play both sides. And right now, I think they're using him primarily as an attacker. They're using him as a winger, so he's more offensive minded, which we know Parky likes. He's 24, so not a bad age. And I think we can get him for under 2 million, and I think that's not bad. Good pace. He's got 3 assists this season, which you like to see. I do want to pull him up on SofaScore. So let's pull up. Now, another one, I don't know that they're looking to sell him either, so they may not even want to sell him. But it was just a player that I really like and I think would fit for us. He played, of course, yeah, he's been playing on the left-hand side for them. He can play both, as you can see. He's got some stuff down here, but he plays more on the left. He's both-footed though. He's actually a natural right footer. So I would assume Parky would try to use him with his natural right foot. He plays as a left winger / left attacking mid for them. So that's why you get a lot of this, in the, here, let me pull it back down, in the heat map on the left side. But that's because they're asking him to cut inside. But he's a natural right footer.
Yeah, they're playing him in a 4-4-2. And
Yeah.
they're very near the relegation zone, actually, still.
Yes, and that's funny that they switched it. They started the season in a 3-4-3, which is what they finished the season last season. And he played. And actually, if I go to that, let's see what his stuff looks like from last season in the championship. Be curious what it looks like. Because I don't think I've looked at his yet. So yeah, again, they played him more on the left. As a left wing back in a 3-4-3, especially the second half of the season. But yeah, I think this season I've seen that they were playing him as a winger. When they were doing the 3-4-3, like the winger, kind of like the broadhead spot. But I think he's better suited at wing back probably. Good pace though. And let's look. I mean, he covers every inch of grass. Every blade of grass. He's got spots all over. So interesting player. Lots of speed, lots of potential. I think he'd be a good buy. He's played at this level, and he was decent at this level. You know, wasn't blowing people away at this level, but he had decent numbers last season. 2 assists last year. Four big chances created. And that was all on he played 43 matches, so I don't know how many starts he had last season, but had decent stats last season. But yeah, a player I like. I think I could see us going for it, and he's more of a bargain deal, player you can get and not have to break the bank for.
Yeah.
Which again, I don't know how big of a. Oh wait, did you guys not see? Did that one pop up? Was I sitting there looking at his heat map and you guys weren't even seeing it?
Yeah.
What the heck? Why did I do that? That was dumb. There we go. What an idiot. What an idiot. Okay, sorry. There we go. There's a heat map from the championship last season. But yeah, as you can see, he can play both sides. But they played him mostly on the left because he can play with both feet. But natural right footer. 2 assists. Similar. Not bad numbers in the championship. But yeah, I think he's a fantastic player. Worked good for us. Good fit. I think I don't know if he's quite as fast as Kabore, but similar type of pace. Really quick, really fast, I think. Or at least he looks it on video. He looks really fast. So yeah. So let's pull that back off here. Okay, let's move on. Central midfield. Got a few players here. Andy Irving, another one we were linked with in the summer. Not playing much for West Ham. I'd be interested if they want to sell him, knowing that they're going down, because maybe they have an eye. Well, I don't think they know they're going down, but I feel like they're going down. But he could probably contribute next season a little more than he is now.
Yeah.
But the fact that we were linked to the summer wouldn't be surprising if we went back in for him. I think we were really close on a deal. I don't know what happened. I don't remember what the details were on. Do you remember what? Seemed like that one was close. Like that almost happened, and then the last minute just fell apart. And I don't know if that one was I don't know if it fell apart because the Ben Sheaf deal went through, but it seemed like we were close to getting him. I feel like we had already got Sheaf, and then it was.
Was it the Sheaf deal, or was it they were waiting for a replacement and didn't get him?
Well, it might have been. Well, the thing was, I think we were still looking at him because it was when we were looking at what's his name too? That ended up going to Leicester. The other defensive midfielder. Oh crap, Jordan James. It might have been. I felt like he was kind of in the same conversation when we were really tightly linked with him when we were also linked with Jordan James. Or actually, I think his name may have came up like right after the James thing kind of looked like it wasn't going to happen. Kind of a couple days before the window ended, and it kind of looked like, okay, Jordan James going somewhere else. And then all of a sudden, Andy Irving popped up. But then also Ben Sheaf was kind of in the. So I don't know if it was kind of him or Sheaf or him or, maybe we were only going to get one of the three. I'm not sure. I don't know.
And MB was after saying it here. This story came out. Apparently, his wife is a teacher and didn't want to move. Now, that also came out after the implications were he didn't want to move to the championship. So, kind of excuses of family. Not my wife would have to move. Hard to get a teaching job. It's not really. Yeah, I remember that story now. Yeah, this is the same guy. Yeah, he didn't want to come.
Yeah, I feel like it was a lot of interest. It'll be interesting. The fact that he didn't get a move, and I don't think he had a lot of interest anywhere else. And I don't think, he's not playing, you know what I mean? And he's 25. He's 25 years old. So, feel like he'd want to be playing. I don't think he wants to just sit the bench for West Ham. He started 2 games for him, but I think he's not going to get a bunch of games for him. Let's just be honest. He's not going to get a lot of minutes. So be an interesting one. He's got really good stats from where he's played in other leagues. He's played in Scotland a few years back. He's played in the Austrian Bundesliga, Liga, and had really, really good numbers over there, which I don't think that's quite at the level we're at, but it's, he's a high level, technically a really good player, I think. I wouldn't mind it. Wouldn't mind having him. But I don't know. I don't think we need to look at his heat map or anything. I don't think it's too much. But
Mhm.
it was another one of those. I kind of it was an interesting name that we were linked with in the summer. And I feel like, knowing Parky, he likes to go back in for players. So wouldn't surprise me if we went back in for him. And it may be next summer, when we go back
Mhm.
in. Who knows? But we'll see. So let's move on. This is my favorite. If we're going to sign a midfielder in January, this is the one I want. I want Dan Neal. 24 years old. He started 44 games for Sunderland last season, was a major part of their promotion. He's not gotten, I don't think he's not played at all, basically, in the Premier League. And they've kind of let it be known that he is available, to be sold. Um, Fought Mob, or not Fought Mob, but Transfer Mark got him for around 5.5 million. Um, I I think he'd be a fantastic addition. I think there's going to be a lot of teams interested, so
Mhm.
there will be some competition for him. I was actually right before we went live, I was just flipping through YouTube, and there was one of the Sheffield United channels was kind of doing a similar show to this, where they were talking about transfer, what they thought they'd do in January. So I was just listening, and he was like, they want him to go to Sheffield United. So I'm sure they'll be interested. There's going to be a lot of teams interested. Um, I think we can probably compete money wise, though. Uh, and I think he would be the perfect player to play next to Sheaf
Yeah.
in the midfield too. Especially if we're playing the 3-4-3. Yeah, he'd be fantastic. I really like him. I do want to pull up his Sofa Score stuff. So drop that and pull up Sofa Score. So let's go. Dan Neal. Oh crap! It moved on me. Do that for. Okay, try again. Dan Neal. And let's go with Ben Sheaf. Sheaf. All right. And then I'll go to his championship stats from last season, because that's better comparison, because he's just not played at all. Look at that. it's you could just about change them out and say, yeah, they could do that. Very similar players. They get it. They do the same type of stuff. But when you get two players like that, they can be, they can that it can just control a midfield. I think if you had those two together, and then here's the interesting thing: if you look at all the stuff, obviously more minutes. Of course, he's played. It was the whole season, but he got 2 goals. He got 3 assists. Right now, Chiefs not got any goals or assists for us.
Mhm.
But he created 4 big chances. He's a really good midfielder, and I think he would be an absolute steal if we could get him. I don't know what it ended up costing us, because, like I said, I'm sure there's going to be other teams interested. Just out of curiosity, James.
Yeah, James. I was curious
James,
actually to
what's
see.
his first name? What's James' first name? What's his first name? James. I'm forgetting. Both of us forgetting. You forgetting too. Jay, come on, chat, help us quick. I'm having a brain fart. I've been looking at so many names, I can't remember anybody's name.
Jordan James,
Oh,
Aaron
no,
James.
yeah, there's so many
I know,
Jameses.
I know. Maddie James.
Maddie James. Maddie James. There we go. God, I feel so stupid, because it's like you say his names every day, but yeah, look at that. Similar positions, you know what I mean? More filled in, obviously, on Dan Neal's.
Maybe drop James back to last year just out of curiosity.
Go to okay.
Yeah.
Do that. We can do that. Go to League One. Yeah, I mean it's just
Is
similar
that a
types
half
of
season
players.
as well, or full season?
Because he came in November for us, or
Okay,
November,
still
December
half.
time.
I was
So,
kind of wanting to see a full,
okay, so let's
but
go
it doesn't
to
matter.
let's see what he did in the championship when he was at Bristol. So let's go 22-23. There we go. So there you go. A little
A
more
little
filled
bit
in.
more filled in, but you can see the difference still.
Still,
Yeah.
more, more filled in there. Let's look at the. Let's just out of curiosity. Yeah, I mean, even still, I mean, you're getting, uh, you know,
Matty James
better
used to
numbers,
take corners.
huh?
James used to take corners.
Yeah. Well, they show him in taking corners. He takes corners occasionally for us. Not as much, I don't think. But here's the main difference. He's 10 years younger. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
for me. That's
of course.
the big difference. You get a very similar type player that with upside and 10 years younger. A guy that can play that could absolutely play 90 minutes and you don't have to worry about it and can do it multiple times a week if he needs to. He proved that last season. So, yeah, he's fantastic. Um, like I said, there will definitely be other teams interested. But
Yeah,
if we were to bring a midfielder in January,
of this
he's the
quality.
one I
Yeah.
want. This is the one I'd want. I mean,
Yeah.
he is absolutely what I want. So just throwing that out there. Let's move on. Leo Castledine. Now this is an interesting one because he's playing more of, and he's had a really good run here just recently, where he scored like I think six goals in 6 games or something like that, or maybe it's 7 and 7. He's been on a really good run for Huddersfield. Now he's on loan from Chelsea. Um, the rumor that came out, the reason what kind of turned me on to him was there was a report that came out that they're looking to probably move him to a championship team and also looking for a deal, maybe a loan to buy deal. So looking to
Mhm.
loan him for the rest of the season, then you can buy him at the end of the year, type of a deal. So I thought that was really interesting. He's more of an attacking midfield player. He really plays for them right now. Interestingly, if everything that I've been looking at, on like FOPMob and stuff like that is right, Huddersfield's been playing like a 3-5-2, and he's been playing kind of the Elliot Lee role, like he playing that role that Elliot Lee used to play for us, that left-sided number 8, or that would get forward, be attacking, and get part of be a big part of that. So if we're still thinking we're going to use that midfield 3, I think he fits us really well. I don't know how he would do in a midfield 2. Or is he maybe somebody that you'd play further forward? Maybe he backs up Broadhead, or maybe he's more of that type of attacking move. Maybe he's better suited playing further forward. I'm not sure. But
Yeah.
when he popped on my radar, we were still playing the 3-man midfield. So I was kind of thinking, well, he actually fits that really well, obviously, because that's what he's playing right now. So he could play that left-sided number 8 and be really good. And he's 20 years old. So, doesn't count towards the squad. And I think he'd be good. I don't think he'd count next season either, if my math's right. Because I think, right, if he's still 20, once we get past the new year, he's good for next season also, correct?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure he wouldn't count towards the squad next season also. So I like him a lot. Very interesting player. Of course, again, is a bit of a punt because he's playing, he's playing in League One, but he is playing at a high level in League One, and he's only 20. So
Yeah.
upside for sure. You would expect upside, but definitely. I mean, I'm sure Huddersfield are going to try to hold on to him, but the rumor was that I saw was Chelsea are looking to move him, get him, get him moved to a championship club in January, and then possibly with a deal to sell, a loan deal to buy. So 7
Yeah.
goals in his last 7 games. That's what it was. I knew he had a really good run recently.
This is something that's really starting to make a difference to me, in my mind anyway, is the fact that loan players count in year 25. You know, so yes, he is available for the 26-27 season. But wouldn't it be interesting, like, if they really pushed for a loan continuation for the second half, but then we have to add him to our squad before we buy him in the summer in order to get him free for a year? Like, it's a very big bonus to have him extra to the squad.
Yeah, you'd be better. I would probably, if you're looking at it from that way, I mean, if they'd sell him, you'd probably be better off to sell him. But it did seem like Chelsea were willing to sell. So I think some teams look at it and think they would prefer to have I think they'd prefer the loan deal. It probably just depends on what your what your FFP numbers look like, where you're at there.
Well, that's the thing. If they don't want the money till next season, technically,
right?
then...
Yeah, it'd be better off doing a loan and then buying him then. So yeah, but like you said, yeah, good point. If he's alone, he counts towards the squad. So yeah, that's interesting. I didn't think about that, but yeah, I'm be an interesting one. I thought it was a good shout, player we could look at. Don't know if he fits in with midfield too, though. So, but who knows? We'll see. I mean, I don't know before we get to see whether Parky's willing to stick with that, or if he's going to go back to the 3. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But it's definitely a player to keep your eye out for. So let's move on.
I kind of think with the idea of switching between our two different formations. Right now, we'd be better off spending the money on someone who can comfortably be in the 2 and upgrading there, which is basically the James spot.
Yeah,
because you can fill in that extra spot. We have enough midfielders. When we go to the 3, we don't need a new player to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Yep, totally get it. I totally agree. All right, let's move on. Let's go to center backs and get this finished up. I think I got 3.
If we were to get only one player, and it was a big signing, I would love a monster center back right in the middle.
Monster center back. All right. Joe Worrell. He's 6'3". He's 28 years old. He's at Burnley. He just started playing a little bit for him, but he's really not played much at all. And he really hasn't played a ton the last couple seasons. But I think he's a pretty good center back. He's 28. I think this is the time. If we were going to go for one, I could see us going for somebody like this. Because I think he could play for us. But it'd be interesting. It'd be an interesting one. But I was trying to, we actually found, me and you were talking while I found him last night. I literally found him last night, just kind of perusing through teams, players that they had on the bench that they weren't playing. And so Joe Worrell's popped up. I think he could slot it in the middle of our 3. And maybe, then you maybe slide Haim over to the right, and then, exactly, save Max. But who knows? I honestly don't think we sign a center back in the window, but I wanted to throw.
No, I don't think we need one urgently or anything like that. But it is a spot I think we could do with really upgrading and moving Chief. Across. So
I liked him just because I think 28 for a center back isn't very old. You know what I mean? I think it's a player that, he's still got some life in him, and could play a few seasons for us. It's an interesting one. He played a handful of games last season for Burnley, but he wasn't didn't play a ton. I don't know if he's got injury issues. I didn't look that far into it because I didn't have time with him. But he's an interesting player anyway. Then, now if you want to talk about save Max, I think this next one. This one might be this might be one that actually just slots in on the right of the 3. So Luke 09. Now he's older. He's 31. But he played basically every game for Sunderland last season. He's played. I mean, he's been a mainstay at Sunderland. There was rumors that they're
8 years.
looking. Yeah, I mean, there is rumors that he's could be one they could be looking to move. He was their captain. You know how Parky loves a captain. And he's. I think at this level, he's still really good. He actually played at right back a bunch last season too. So he wasn't just playing center back. He's actually kind of small for a center back. I think he's only like 5. What I've got him at 5'10". He's like 5'9", 5'10". He's not he's not a monster. But in a 3, if he played as one of the wider ones, you don't necessarily need him to be a monster. You know what I mean? He doesn't. You don't need a 6'4" monster out there. So I really think this is one that would not surprise me, and he's not going to cost a ton. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Under $2 million for sure. I think, but he's not getting any time in the prim, and they're obviously going to stay up. I don't see him sticking around. The rumors were he could be another one because they're looking to move some of those players out that aren't going to play anymore. So would not surprise me at all. But yeah, he played a handful of games. He can fill in at right back. He filled in at right back for them. So playing on the right hand side of the 3 for us, I think he could absolutely do it. And
Max could learn an absolute amount out of 09.
Yeah. Absolutely. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Here we go.
This is the big brother Max needs.
Yeah, here we go. Oh my God, we got Luke 09. Lose my mind. I love that guy. Absolutely a Parky player to his. Yeah, I agree.
He's been 8 seasons at Sunderland.
Yeah.
And he was on the documentary when they were doing Something Until I Die.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, he's a very interesting player. I'd love to have him too. Again, he is old, older, 31. But I mean, as much as he played last season and he did really well, I don't see it being an issue. I think he could absolutely step in and play for us for a couple more seasons. You could, maybe you don't put him, bring him in for a 2-year deal. Maybe it's not a 3-year deal, or maybe you do a 3-year deal, but you don't have to. He doesn't necessarily, but I think at this level, he is good enough to play. But he's just not going to be good enough for Sunderland at the Prem level. Yeah. So he's going to be he'll be one that I think they'll be looking to get rid of, and I would absolutely love to have him. So I would assume yes, he should have been there when Parky was there. If the math's right,
he was because Parky joined just after the documentary finished. And then he was there for only a short period, and then they swapped again. So yes, he was there when Parky was there.
This actually absolutely screams like a very much a Parky signing. Like this one, this would not surprise me one bit if we got.
And with the age, like talking about a 3-year deal, the year isn't only the necessary problem, because with something like this, you can have a huge amount of clauses in there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
with regards to releasing him if you get promoted, and injuries and playing time and all sorts of stuff as to pay and stuff like that. But
so to Wayne's point here, if you're still durable, then age comes into it a bit less. So just as far as durability, he made his move to Sunderland in the 2018-2019 season from Wickham. That season he played 52 games. Next season, 43 games. Next season, 45 games. Next season, 35 games. The next season, 46 games. Next season, 44 games. The next season, last season, he played 49 games total for them, including cups and all.
Yeah.
He's a durable player. He will absolutely, He's not one that gets hurt all the time. So I would absolutely, yeah, here you go. Good point. Only signed Cody and Hyam on 2-year deals. Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't surprise me at all. So this one to me, I don't think we need a center back, but if we were, maybe you're thinking, Brunt's had issues.
Yeah, we need cover.
Obviously, nobody thinks Cody can do it. We think Cody was a miss. So, for cover wise, at least, I mean, do you bring him in, and then let him push Max for that spot, because he can absolutely play on the right side of our three. So. Kim, if they sign Luke O'Neill, they'd have to change the name of the series to Wrexham Till I Die.
Guaranteed they would do
There'd be
something with that in the show.
There'd be an episode named
actually, that's it. It would be the episode name. Yeah,
for sure.
It would be. Yeah.
But I'd love to have Luke O'Neill. It seems like the chat doesn't seem too against it either. Despite obviously the age is, not exactly what we'd be looking for, but
do you know what? This is the perfect way to sell it to Max, actually, as well. Is right. He's coming in on a short-term deal, and he's the perfect person to team up with and work with and improve your skills as well and fight with him, Yep,
absolutely. I think it'd be great. I think it'd be great for Max to push Max.
Yeah.
Max could push him.
Yeah.
And because we don't have, right now, we just don't have that. We don't have a player that will push Max right now. But Max is, I know Josh is, we give Josh a lot of hell, but he's right. Max is going to play right now because you're not going to replace him with anybody. You know what I mean? We don't have the depth right now. And I think
we don't, that's exactly it. We don't have the depth, right? We have kind of settled on a tree at the moment. So we got Max, we got Hyam, and we've got what's his name?
See, here we go.
Doyle.
Hey, now let's get all three of them. Let's get Sirkin, O'Neill, and Dan Neal. All right, for a bargain deal from Sunderland. Let's just do some swapping here.
Yeah.
We'll have Robin Ryan can do some promotion stuff for him. There we go. Let's trade some Robin Ryan promotion stuff, and we get a deal on the 3 Sunderland guys. I'm all about that.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
But you need an upgrade somewhere, right? Yeah. We already have Hyam in there. But if Hyam goes down, we need Scar back in, right? If Max goes down, Hyam needs to move over. Scar comes back in.
Yeah.
And if Doyle goes down, we will probably have Brunt back soon enough.
And here's the thing: nothing against Dan Scar. Luke O'Neill is miles better than Dan Scar. That's a different. You know what I mean?
At this level.
Yeah, he's a different level. Yeah.
So the left we're probably okay with, because at a pinch we know Hyam can actually cover that left as well if we really have to. So we need either the monster center that I would love to get, or we need someone for the right hand side.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to point out on FOTMob, just looking at his previous career, his seasons. So his average rating, which I know a lot of people, we don't put a lot of stock in that. A lot of people think it's stupid, but his average rating. So in the 2019-2020 season, he had a 7.1 rating. The next season, 7.1. The next season, 7.3. The next season dropped to a 6.9. But then he's back to a 7.2, and then last season 7.1. So he's a high-level operator at this level. You know what I mean? I mean, he's and some of the, let's be fair, Sunderland, some of those were in League One. So you do got to throw that out there. Wasn't all in the championship. But he's the last handful of seasons were in the championship, and he was still high level.
You don't see this often enough, right? But could you imagine the scenario where in the first 2 or 3 days of the window, we do an announcement that we've taken all 3 players from Sunderland?
Oh, it'd be awesome. I'd love it.
They've come as a group, They all spoke to each other and said, Wouldn't it be interesting at Wrexham if we all go and do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all extra players for Sunderland. They know they're moving them on. They don't need to replace them as such.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
they're not worried about replacing them because they're not first teamers, and we get them early, and they all come in.
Right.
Oh, someone here, MB. This is interesting after some of the other pictures tonight. Also, Unknown looks like he's so young.
Yeah, he looks like one
So
of the
many
youngest
of the
ones.
other players
That
look
might
so
be.
bloody old. They're 25 and they look like
To
they're
be
40.
fair, I don't know what season that picture's from, though. So
I
that
know,
might
yeah,
just be because
yeah.
I picked a younger picture. I was just trying to find pictures that were decent pictures of some of these players. It was hard to find a picture that was halfway decent to put on there. So this is just one that fit. So I have no idea what season that would have been. Somebody'd have to be a Sunderland expert. But as you can see, he's wearing the armband. So yeah.
But
Yeah.
I wonder what sort of marketing benefit we would get out of pulling 3 Sunderland players and linking the documentaries, because we've already spoken about Sunderland being part of the reason they considered doing a documentary.
There you go. John says that picture from 20 years ago. Might be. I just picked one. It's just what popped up. I just picked a decent one that popped up. So yeah, he probably was like 25 there, but anyway. I think I got one more slide, guys. Noah Kai Banks. This one would be an interesting one. He probably cost a little bit more money. But he's young, so a complete opposite of '09. He's starting to get a really good run of games in the Bundesliga for Augsburg, and he's playing pretty well. He's 6'4". He's 19. He seems to be pretty good on the ball, actually. Watching him play, he doesn't. He looks. The game I watched. I watched one. I was able to watch one replay of their games with him in, and he doesn't look quite as physical as I'd like, but again, I think that might just be because he's 19. Not that he got beat up or anything. It was just when you look at him, he doesn't look at it like a physical present. He doesn't look like a big, 6'4". He looks more lanky, and and that's probably because he's 19. So and because I remember Max looked like that. He was real lanky earlier on when he was playing for us. So, but this is a player that if you could get, and I don't know if we could get him, and if we'd spend this kind of money for him, but he is a player that has a ton of upside and could play it probably at higher levels. I, he's a player that, it's a potential. It's a potential buy. You're buying potential.
Contract end 29.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. The thing what he's got there apparently they just signed a contract with him, but there was rumors that he could be on the move, which is odd. I agree. The contract does look weird. The fact that they just signed him, you'd think he'd be there for a long term. There were rumors that he was on the move. He was also rumors that he obviously pushing for a call up in the USA team also, which that's how he first came on my radar. But then I saw somewhere, I can't remember who it was. Somebody, one of the it might have been the hell's his name? I think is it Plattenberg? Does a lot of the German stuff. Let me look. I try to think of his name. He covers the Bundesliga stuff a lot. Florian Plettenberg. I think he posted something about him and said there was a chance he could be on the move. And I want to say it's been a while, but I want to say there was like speculation he could be looking to move to England. Now that might have been Prim interest too, though, so not necessarily the Championship, but it was just a player that I thought was interesting, and so I included him. Again, I don't think we're going to buy. I doubt we buy a center back in this window, and if we did, it'd probably more likely be somebody like a Luke 09 or somebody like that. But if you're looking for potential and young players, that's the type of player you want to get. You know what I
mean?
Yeah. But yeah, interesting player. Just wanted to throw him out there. And again, an American. That's how he popped on my radar. There was people talking about he should be getting a look at the USA team for the World Cup next season. So, yeah, I decided to take a look, kind of look into him, and he looked really good. So, cool player, young, lots of upside. I, don't know that we'd spend the kind of money it might take to get him though. So,
Yeah, we're probably not there just yet.
not yet. Yeah,
that much for a young player.
For us, for a center back, you know what I mean. Plus, it's potential. Yeah, again, you're buying potential. So I don't know if we can quite afford to spend that kind of money on a potential player. So we'll see. But yeah, here's one, Cody. I just don't. Cody Duff throws up at Joe Pedro. I can't see him dropping. To I don't see. I maybe higher end in the championship. I'm not convinced he'll leave though. To be honest, I don't think he'll leave Leeds. Personally, but I could be wrong. But I could see him going. I think Coventry were maybe hinting that because I think there's a good chance that Haji Wright might be on the move, and so maybe they'd look at Joel Pirro. I don't know. I'm not blown away by Sam Surridge at all. I'm sorry. I struggle, and we were talking about this because I know I gave all kinds of shit to what's his name at Derby, the kid that was the American kid that went to Derby, because he played in the MLS. I'm just not. I don't trust the MLS because the MLS is so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And so players that play in the MLS, it's hard. It's hard to judge because you literally have. It's like it's League Two, National League level with the occasional Messi sprinkled in. Like it's so hard to see. It's so hard to judge players because literally my biggest knock on what's the kid? I'm trying to think of his name. The kid that went to Derby, the U.S. kid, the striker, Ajimang. Patrick Edgemang. So I was waiting because we were linked to him, and I'm like, I don't want anything to do with him. But when I watched him in the MLS, he literally just stood there and watched things happen, and then the ball would fall to his feet and he'd score. And I'm like, he doesn't do anything. Now you watch him at Derby, and he fucking runs his balls off, and he works like crazy. So I don't know if it's just coaching is just that much better here, but it was just like he did absolutely nothing in the MLS. Other than just score the goals, they'd fall to his feet and he'd score. Like he didn't run around. He didn't show the physicality he does at Derby. And so I was like, I'm good for him. I mean, I'm happy for him that he's doing well. But I just wasn't impressed. And so like with Sam Surridge, it's like, I don't know. I just don't trust anybody from the MLS because it's so bad.
Yeah.
Like if you actually sit down and watch an MLS game, it's hard to watch because it's not it. When you've watched, especially when you've been watching the championship this season, oh my god, the football's so much better in the championship. It's not even close. So I don't know, man. I'm not.
Earlier someone mentioned as well the Australian player that Ken listed the last time we did this in the summer, but he is currently injured.
Yeah, he was like top scorer or something. I can't remember.
No, big defender.
Oh,
huge guy. What was his name?
Harry Suter.
Suter, that's it. Yeah, but he's currently coming back from injury.
Where he's at? Was he at Sheffield United? Is that where he's at? I can't remember. Or was he only there on loan? He might be at Leicester. Maybe he's at Leicester. I can't remember where he's at. I can't remember where Harry Suter's at. Anybody know where he's at?
I'll tell you.
Top of their head. Patty's gonna look it up. I think he was at Sheffield United on loan last season. He's at Leicester. Okay. Yeah. I think he was on loan at United last season, and then
Achilles tendon injury, August 1st.
Yeah.
So he's been out the whole season.
But did he get that another injury? Because he got injured for a long time last season too. I think he played against us at that when we played them in the cup. When we played Sheffield United in the cup last season.
Yeah, well, they're showing us stats for last season 24-25. Started 20, played 21. So yeah, he was out for half that season as well.
Half that season. Okay. No,
And
is that
now he
the same
plays.
injury? Is this a new injury?
No, this is a new injury because the
Ooh.
new injury was August 1st, and he
Ooh.
hasn't played a game since.
Ooh. See, that's one. Yeah. Eesh. I don't know. Sucks.
Okay.
He looks like a good player.
Seeing as we had such fun with 09, I pulled up a little video.
Oh,
Just,
there we go.
I haven't watched it.
All right.
I just got off FaceTime with my wife and my sister, so a little bit emotional. Just seeing them, and my wife said my kids are up, and they were jumping up and down when I came on. So yeah, listen, it's very special. I just said to the boys, I couldn't be prouder of the group we have. We've been with Dan, Neil, and Patter, and the journey this club's been on, and then seeing just the quality that have come in, but not just the quality of the human beings, and the way they've gone about climbing this Premier League table has been special. And to be a part of it, to come this far with this incredible club, with the fan base, I think for the first time in my Sunderland career, I'm lost for words.
That was after he made his start for the Prem.
Was it? That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think he came in off the bench by the sounds of it because he didn't know he was playing or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, that's no grey hairs. He doesn't look that old.
No. Yeah. Gotcha. Sign him up.
But,
get him.
Yeah, he's absolutely our type of player.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, if he wants another little bit of a challenge to keep his career going,
yeah,
we're a bit of a challenge for him. You know what I mean? Get us up to the Prem.
Hell yeah.
Mm.
Oh shoot! All right. Well, anything else you want to cover? We've only gone 3 hours. Seems short. It's a short show today.
Yep. And it's only 1:10 in the morning.
Yeah. How late were me and you up chatting last night? You were up to what, 4, a little after 4 last night chatting
after
with me?
4 in the morning.
Oh shoot! Guess that's what happens when our wives are away. We can stay up all night and chat and bullshit. Oh shoot! But all right, everybody. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed this. Again, this is just what's fun, just some fun. I like doing this. I like digging in and finding players.
Yeah, do you know, it feels really nervy, this window. There's so little talk.
Yeah, we've got nothing. There's just not a lot of links. Just not a lot of anything. So
we got 3 Sunderland players. We're done.
There you go. I'd be happy. Hey, we brought in those 3 Sunderland, but that does me. That tickles me pink. I'd love that. So we get those 3 in, and I'm happy. But all right, well, let's get out of here.
And on that bombshell.
On that bombshell. Thanks for coming in, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. Some of you guys have been here for the whole 3 hours, which is amazing. But all right, guys, we're off here. Make sure you get in the Discord, like and subscribe, share it out. This is a fun
day tonight.
Yep. Well, we've got we got Preston at home. Will Parkey stick with the 3-4-3, or will he go back to the 3-5-2 or whatever variation of? See what we do. So we'll see you guys later. Thanks for joining us. And on that bombshell, we will see you all soon.